Welcome to MINDSHOCK. This is the thrilling conclusion of the showdown between Austin WITSIT and Lore Lodge, aka Soy Lodge, who's introduced a new style of goofery, soy goofery, which brings him into legendary status regarding the Dunning-Kruger Championships. Now, I don't know if he's good enough to unseat Michael Sartain, to compete with the likes of Craig of Fight the Flat Earth, but he is a true challenger, a champion caliber competitor in the Dunning-Kruger Championships. His style of soy goofery is revolutionizing flat earth debate. And we will continue to examine what he brings to the table in the direction of logic or otherwise, because we've never seen something quite like this before. I mean, just the amount of soy oozing through his very being, his mannerisms of fondling microphones. I mean, it's very, very curious. And all our hearts have to go out to Austin WITSIT for putting up with this. I don't know how this man does it. I really don't know. Very, very difficult task for Austin WITSIT. I have to split this up in different parts because there's only so much soy goofery I can handle in single doses. I am a mere mortal. Not everybody can handle hours and hours of this level of goofery. Okay, we got some of the usual suspects in the chat. Run Boston Bear. Kyle says, I have been looking forward to breaking down this meltdown all week. Thank you for making my day. Well, we will attempt to do it in a logical, objective fashion, as we always do on MINDSHOCK, attempting not to fall for any logical fallacies like pretty much all other media out there. If you want to help support the MINDSHOCK channel, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, like and share, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Patreon. Patrons do get priority for case topic, logical analysis, co-podcast requests. You can also be a guest in the podcast depending on your tier, or you can support us by becoming a YouTube member right here on YouTube. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunkings of any kind, leave them in the comment section, or if you are with us live in the live chat, and I will attempt to get to each and every one of you, even our resident Dunning-Kruger goof to Taka, who's in the chat as well. Hello, Joby Barr, Aaron Plochi Podcast, Run Boston Bear. All right, so let's pick up right where we left off.
The global model, right? And that's what I mean by I maybe looked into it more. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything or be like rude. I'm just saying, like, I know a lot about the mainstream model.
Sure.
And that is why I don't believe in it, right? I can still man it with the best of them, and that's all I was saying. But I want to address the thing real fast about, like, how would they lie? Why would they lie? That is a meta thing. Yeah, it's meta. I get that's a question. It's kind of like, it would be like, oh, here's a video of your girlfriend cheating, and you're like, no, she wouldn't do that. You know, she loves me. She's met my family. I'm like, dude, I don't know why she did it, bro, but, like, here's a video. You would obviously look at the video first, but I do get it's probably a good faith question. So they were a minority, even if you believe in the story. And so you kind of shifted it over to, like, more of like a Greek centric, they were the smartest people type of thing. But that can be debated and argued, of course. I think that they were crazy and oftentimes into pedophilia, right? So I don't put them above anyone else. I think
Look at Soy Lodge clutching that microphone, holding on for dear life as Austin gives him the verbal thrashing he so deserves. And again, it's very interesting to look at the contrast between Soy Lodge and his co-host. Now, his co-host is quite clueless as well, but at least he doesn't appear triggered. At least he doesn't have all these soy mannerisms, all these soy idiosyncrasies like Soy Lodge does. I mean, this guy looks like a 3-year-old in just a much bigger body. I mean, both in mental capacity, behavior, maturity level. And as we went over in the previous podcast and many others, the Greeks were actually divided on the shape of the earth. I went over all of this in the previous part as well as other debates.
Their arguments were actually fundamentally fallacious, right? Aristotle thought that since the moon looks like it's a sphere, the earth must be one. He said, oh, since ships disappear, the earth must be a sphere. These are terrible arguments that like a child could disprove now with binoculars, right? So,
well, how? Because ships do disappear over the horizon.
Yeah, but they disappeared to the naked eye, which is that's all Aristotle would have had, right?
Well, yeah, so but then he went and there was more to it. He looked at the stars and he said, well, there's stars I can see from Alexandria that I can't see from Athens. Sorry, not Alexandria. It would have been too early. But there's stars I can see from Egypt that I can't see from Athens. Therefore, the Earth must be round.
I have also brought
diverting. That's called red herring.
Well, I have also used.
Not, I mean, what I was trying to get to the bottom of was really quickly, when did the lie start?
Also,
the amount of goofery here is just astounding. This is astounding goofery. I mean, even Austin looks like he's having a little bit of trouble with the amount of goofery on display here. He goes from, Soy Lodge goes from ships disappearing over the horizon to, wait a second, forget about that. Look at the stars. Oh, wait, forget about that. Why would they lie? So he's gish galloping all over the place, spamming red herring logic fallacies and diversion fallacies, with a fundamental lack of understanding of basic logic. I mean, we got false cause logical fallacy in here, false dichotomy logical fallacy. I mean, the amount of logical fallacies here, I mean, that was at least a quint stack. And he appears to be this utterly clueless, he doesn't realize, I mean, I guess, the Dunning-Kruger is so off the charts. I mean, he broke the Dunning-Kruger meter, if we had one, completely. So, I mean, how do you just go across all of that, ignore everything WITSIT just said, and then jump straight back to motive? I mean, this is just like, it's almost like a waste of time, because instead of going point by point and addressing the points, he just keeps jumping around and then ignoring everything WITSIT is saying, while not having the mental capacity to not only process what WITSIT said anyway, which I guess his only cope is ignoring, but at the same time, does he really... I mean, I wonder what Soy Lodge thinks watching this back, if he actually watched it back. I mean, regardless, like, again, I'm not even saying Soy Lodge is incorrect about his conclusions. Let's say he's correct about the shape of the Earth. But watching this video back, I mean, how are any heliocentric globe earthers not completely embarrassed and ashamed? I mean, is it possible to do a poor job here? Now, there's different styles of debating horribly. Soy Lodge here, mastering the soy goofery style. Then you have Sartain with the verbal diarrhea style. You have Craig with just the fallacy spamming and the fallacy stacking, the likes of which we have never seen before. We might never see ever again. I mean, Craig might be, at fallacy stacking and comboing, Craig might be the best there ever was, the best there is, and the best there ever will be. So, yeah, I mean, that's why it's difficult. It's exceptionally difficult to break this one down, because Soy Lodge is just jumping all over the place. I mean, even Craig and Sartain didn't jump all over the place this way. They at least pretended to understand any kind of counterpoints. They at least pretended. There was some kind of air of pretending. And Soy Lodge is just this utterly clueless with zero awareness I mean, he's not even putting up a pretending front. He's just like a little 3 or 4-year-old who can't stay on one topic and doesn't even comprehend how none of these points have anything to do with each other, and not to mention how easily debunked they are. Did I play this video in this particular breakdown? I'm not sure if I played the video of the Southern Cross being visible well above the equator. So you could actually see it from the Cayman Islands.
This time,
and again, this is not a Flat Earth YouTube. This has nothing to do with Flat Earth. It was uploaded years and years ago, and it's kind of common knowledge that you can see the Southern Cross.
The Southern Cross.
We're not talking about just a little bit above the equator. We're talking about way above, over 1,000 miles above the equator. So just the level of goofy, not to mention, even if you couldn't see it, if you're in a big warehouse, why would you expect to see, like if you're in a warehouse tens of thousands of miles wide, why would you expect to see a particular light fixture thousands of miles away on the ceiling? Obviously, you wouldn't see it. So just the level of goofery here is just so off the charts. But once again, I mean, it's kind of common knowledge in astronomy that you can see the Southern Cross above the equator.
I want to know.
Really quickly to address that comment, I have personally been on a boat out several miles with binoculars and a telescope just for the purpose of trying to find like whales and birds and life in order to find fish. And I personally keep note of when I can see, there's 2 specific towers in one of the shorelines that I go to, and there's also water towers in each town in South Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And as I go further and further out into the ocean, I lose sight of the houses, but I can see the water towers and the tops of these 2 towers on the shoreline.
So is Soy Lodge's co-host here just discovering the existence of waves? I mean, I guess that's impressive. I mean, I don't know. We're going to be impressed by that? That Soy Lodge's co-host has figured out that waves exist. I mean, does he deserve a round of applause? That objects closer to you, even if smaller, will block objects further away, even if larger. I mean, it's kind of weird because, I mean, even small children, you know, they play the game where you like squash someone with your fingers. You just put your index and thumb in front of your face, and you could squash like humans in the background. So 6-foot-tall humans. You could squash them between your index and finger and your thumb when you're holding your thumb and index finger right in front of your face. But these clueless, I mean, have they never done that? Are they not even at like a 3-4-year-old mental capacity? Obviously, smaller objects like waves block the bottom of boats right in front of you. Are these goofs hallucinating that much larger waves wouldn't do that farther away? Like, what is the basis of these Dunning-Kruger hallucinations? I mean, again, small children understand that smaller objects can block larger objects further away. And then obviously you have the visibility index. I mean, have these goofs just never looked at a weather report? Visibility is different at different days. And then, of course, the main crux of the issue that a lot of goofs can't... I don't know why. I mean, these are such basic concepts. Just super basic concepts. But just because train tracks look like they touch in the distance, that doesn't mean they actually touch. Just like, you know, a boat might look like it's going over the apparent horizon, not the true horizon. The apparent horizon. Again, these are very basic concepts. But these goofs just have so much trouble. And what's even more astounding is that, again, if they don't have a fetish for humiliating themselves, because if they do, they obviously wouldn't have done any research, right? Because if their goal was to humiliate themselves, if the goal of all these globe earth debaters is there's just this fetish for humiliation, and their goal is to humiliate themselves as much as possible, then it would make perfect sense not to do any research. It would make perfect sense not to understand basic arguments, because then they could achieve that goal of humiliation easier. But if this is not their goal, again, I don't claim to know whether it is or it isn't. This is MINDSHOCK. I do not claim anything is true or untrue, other than what can be verified empirically and empirically verifiable definitions in the dictionary and any kind of scientific experiments actually adhering to the scientific method. That's the only thing I deal in. So I don't really know their motivations, but obviously, I mean, anybody who spends 5 minutes researching this stuff has nothing to do with flat Earth. It has absolutely nothing to do with flat Earth. The apparent horizon is not the true horizon. Precipitation exists, and smaller objects block larger objects in the distance. These are very easy concepts, but these goofs just not a lick of comprehension. I mean, it's tough. Not a lick.
And when I take the binoculars up to my face, I can read the I can read the letters on the water towers. I can read the names of the towns, but I can't see the houses beneath them because of that curvature.
So he's saying because of the curving, again, false cause logical fallacy, because even if the Earth were a globe, it wouldn't be because of the curving. It would be because of things called waves. I mean, I know it's out there. I mean, waves are rough. It would be because the apparent horizon is not the true horizon and precipitation exists. But this goof is just hallucinating. He's just hallucinating that all these other factors don't exist. That's why this would be a false cause logical fallacy, a reductive logical fallacy, as if it's just that simple, which it clearly isn't. So waves existing is not curvature of Earth. That's waves existing. Precipitation, apparent horizon, true horizon. These are all very basic concepts, but these goofs, they're just having trouble.
At least
that's what you think
a global
it is.
model. Yeah, but what would it be otherwise? Because that's a direct, comparison. It's like I've used telescoping and binocular instruments on the ocean, utilizing directional sources to guide myself home, so that way I know the correct inlet I need to go in home when I can't see the islands, but I can see the structures on the islands that stand taller than the majority of those structures.
Yeah, you can see things from further away when they're taller on a flat Earth as well, and you can see further when you get higher on a flat Earth because of your angle of view changing.
But I'm only 6 miles away.
Why is the bottom, as to specifically why is the bottom of the object sometimes obstructed? Well, you would have to get into what's obstructing it. It's typically the horizon, right? You think the horizon is the curvature of the Earth, but the horizon is not the curvature of the Earth, and we know it's not the actual location of any type of curvature because it changes. It goes up and down. You can't go stand on it. It moves throughout the day. I can pull out infrared, and all of a sudden it changes. I pull out infrared, and all of a sudden the horizon is in a different location. I can see further. I can see more things at the bottom. That's because the most dense part of the atmosphere is at the bottom. We lose most of the information at the bottom because it's more dense. It's hiding the light. And the horizon's an apparent location. The ground ramps up, begins to converge to the sky that ramps down. If something's higher up beyond that convergence point, that is the horizon, you can still.
Do we have any bets on whether or not Soy Lodge processed anything WITSIT's saying as he's fondling the microphone? Like a small child, like he needs some kind of soothing mechanism when he's getting obliterated intellectually? Not that that's difficult to do. Again, notice the contrast between Soy Lodge and his co-host. His co-host might be dumb as a brick and not comprehend that smaller objects block larger objects in distance. He might not know that waves exist and that waves block objects right in front of you, like the bottom of boats. So obviously they would do that further away when the waves are even bigger. I mean, he might be dumb as a brick, but he doesn't appear to be triggered. That's the difference here. Whereas Soy Lodge is just fondling, soothing, whatever, and there doesn't appear to be any processing in the brain. It's almost like he's given up on even trying to pretend he understands anything Austin is saying. I mean, just look at his face. It's just completely blank. There's just nothing. There's just nothing. The mental capacity is just not there.
To the top of it. And there's obviously Rayleigh's criteria is also involved here. The angle of view from your eye level to the bottom of that object in relation to the top of that object is different, and that's relative to reception and propagation angles, which is called Rayleigh's criteria. Of course. So,
what isn't the
I just
ocean?
want to clarify, Aiden, what you're saying is that when you're out in the water
At sea, yes,
at sea, 6 miles from shore,
roughly.
when you look through your binoculars, you can see what?
So Soy Lodge completely ignored everything WITSIT said, and then I guess he didn't even understand what his co-host said about the binoculars, so he's just asking his co-host to clarify what he just said, completely ignoring everything WITSIT said. I mean, we've never seen goofery quite like this before. I mean, again, does one laugh or cry in this situation? Does one weep for the human race when you have goofs like Soy Lodge actually participating in any kind of debate? I mean, forget the subject matter. I mean, this kind of goofer, is there any subject? I mean, maybe reality TV shows, but even then, is Soy Lodge, who thinks Soy Lodge is qualified to do some kind of debate on Real Housewives or something? I don't think he would be qualified for that either. I think he'd be laughed out of any debate on any subject. Is there any subject that Soy Lodge can actually debate? Because from what we've seen here, even his English comprehension isn't even preschool level. So how would he be able to debate any topic? I mean, it's just rough.
I can see it was 6 to 8. I can see the water towers, the bulbs of the water towers, and I can see the top, maybe, depending on exactly how far out I am, the top 3 to 5 floors of like a
one of the big hotels.
Yeah, one of the big hotels. Yeah.
All right, so that I would argue at that distance, he should be able to see everything if it's flat, right?
So, oh man, I mean, this is just I mean, he's going full vegetable here. Austin just clearly explained why you wouldn't see and you don't see anything that bleeds into the horizon in the distance on any model, globe or flat. And Soy Lodge, I guess, just nothing processed. So now he's just asking, he's saying you would argue you still wouldn't see the bottom. Wow. Again, like, this goof doesn't know about the existence of waves, so he thinks waves wouldn't exist on a flat Earth. Precipitation wouldn't exist on a flat Earth. Train tracks wouldn't look like they touch on a flat Earth. Like, what? What? Like, the level of goofery on display, I think he might win the award for just being the flat-out dumbest. Because even okay, we have to give Sartain and Craig credit here. Because even those Dunning-Kruger champs, they didn't sink this low to just basically repeating a preschool question. They at least pretended to understand. They at least utilized all these logical fallacies to try to make some kind of points, instead of simply ignoring everything that was said and responding like a 2-year-old who didn't hear something. Like, this is rough. I mean, Soy Lodge might win the award for just being the absolute most brain dead. I mean, this is vegetable goofery. I mean, he's moved from soy goofery to vegetable goofery. Ready Geezer 1, did you not listen to anything Austin just said? I guess you didn't. I mean, this is a cope of clueless goofs like that don't have the mental capacity and their narcissism is extreme. Like even Soy Lodge here, I'm not even 100% sure he's exhibiting narcissism here. This is just flatlined vegetable goofery. He honestly might have not been able to process anything Austin just said because if the mental capacity is not there. Yet Ready Geezer 1 seems to have a mental disability. Are you comparing stars in the sky to ships on the same... Stars in the sky not on the same level you're standing on, to ships on the horizon at sea level if you're standing at sea level? Really? So if you're that mentally disabled, why would you expect Austin to debate you? I don't know who Ready Geezer 1 is. Maybe if you had a big channel like Soy Lodge... Because obviously Austin debates, brain dead goofs all the time with mental disabilities like Soy Lodge. But I guess you'd have to have some kind of channel. I don't know. Is Ready Geezer 1 some kind of famous YouTuber or personality? I don't know. Sphinx Bear says, Geezer, that was the dumbest thing anyone has ever said. Congrats. Come on, Sphinx Bear. I'm going to argue Soy Lodge just said something dumber. I'm gonna see because at least Ready Geezer 1 at least spammed a fallacy there. Whereas I mean Soy Lodge couldn't even muster a fallacy. I don't think we've ever been in this territory in debate before. Soy Lodge has reached such a flatlined level of mental disability that he couldn't even muster a fallacy. Like a new fallacy. Because he was basically saying, obviously, that's a fallacy stack, but it's not, he didn't pretend to understand. That was almost like an honest question. Yeah, obviously Geezer's up there. That's definitely one of the dumbest, that non-congruent argument is definitely, that might be one of the dumbest non-congruent arguments if we get specific. That Ready Geezer 1's assertion that teeny tiny stars, first of all, you don't know how big they are. According to scientism, the stars could be quite large. According to scientism, the 1.3 million Earths can fit inside of it. Is that a teeny tiny star? And the North Star Polaris is supposedly 45 million kilometers in diameter. 45 million! Are these teeny tiny? Even according to your religious cult of scientism, these are not teeny tiny stars. And then obviously they're not on the same level that you are when you're observing them. So that is one of the dumbest non-congruent logical fallacies I've ever heard. Might be the worst. It might be the most non-congruent argument ever utilized in any kind of debate. But in terms of just dumbest across the board, I'm going to argue what Soy Lodge just did here because of the context. Because Austin clearly explained all these other variables, and he didn't... I think it's possible to break it down dumber. Obviously waves exist. If waves block the bottom of the boat 2 feet in front of your face, why wouldn't they be blocking the bottom levels of floors across a larger body of water with much bigger waves in the distance? It's just plain common sense. You don't even have to get into science for this. And again, obviously, true horizon versus apparent horizon, which Austin did explain the difference. And if you're using infrared, you can see more of the bottom. Now, Soy Lodge completely ignored all of that. That's why this is flatline goofery. This is flatline brain-dead goofery now. I think I have to give the award. I think Soy Lodge might be the dumbest individual. Again, even if he's correct, this is why this is not an ad hom logical fallacy. He might still be correct about the shape of the Earth being a globe, but we're just examining his arguments for logical validity. There is none. He might be the dumbest. Does he even have a 2-digit IQ, or is he single-digit IQ? Is Soy Lodge single-digit IQ? Is that the point we're reaching here? Ready Geezer 1 proving his disability, asking how a flat plane can obstruct anything above it. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about anything obstructing the stars. What are you talking? Who's talking about obstructions in the sky? What? What? Oh, man. I feel so bad for Ready Geezer 1. I mean, is he trolling or is he really this dumb? If he's really this dumb, I mean, he's going to be in competition with Soy Lodge. I'm postulating here. Let's do a poll. I think Soy Lodge might be the dumbest individual to ever debate on any subject, but let's keep it flat Earth here. Let's do a poll. So what does everybody in the chat think here? Ready Geezer 1, no one was talking about the bottom of a ship in infrared. At least not a small ship, because, you know, there's things called waves. The infrared will cut through the precipitation in the air like a haze. So you'd be able to see more of a building or a city with infrared in the distance that haze would be blocking. Again, if you don't know the difference between apparent and true horizon, you're just going to continue humiliating yourself here. And this obviously has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. Sphinx Bear said, "Stop making me laugh, Bruce. I'm in a position where laughing out loud would be inappropriate." Are you at work? Where are you? Where's Sphinx Bear? Heracles here. Oh, wow, interesting. Heracles says, there was a debate on Jaren's channel yesterday between Shane and Alan of Space Audits and a certain physicist and another goof. The debate was on relativity and ether. Oh, man. I did not see that, but I can imagine. Wow, I can imagine there's a lot of goofery there. Ready Geezer 1, are you blind? Look at the screen. You don't know that waves exist? Waves obstruct boats 2 feet in front of your face. Waves would exist if the Earth is flat, waves exist. If the Earth is a globe, waves exist. So if you don't have the mental capacity to understand basic waves blocking the bottom of objects, do you also think train tracks touch in the distance because they look like they touch and they would be impossible on a flat Earth as well? Oh, Ready Geezer 1's already retracting comments. Okay, anyway. So let's look at the results here. These are interesting results. 80% say Soy Lodge is actually the dumbest individual to ever participate in a flat Earth debate. I think this question that he just asked here, I'm not sure he intentionally ignored anything WITSIT said. I'm really not sure. Soy Lodge might be intellectually honest here. I think he might be. He just can't process any information mentally. I mean, he's just so mentally deficient. The mental disability is so extreme that he can't process any of the information Austin is giving him. He might actually be intellectually honest, which would make him the dumbest individual to participate in a flat Earth debate. 76% say yes, 18% say no, 6% too triggered to answer. Now, I totally understand the 6% being too triggered to answer, but the people who say no, who is a dumber participant than Soy Lodge? Does anybody know? For the people that voted no, is Ready Geezer 1 a Soy Lodge alt account? Or a Craig alt account? Sphinx Bear says, I think Soy Lodge's problem here is his inflated ego. He doesn't even realize how dumb he sounds. That's true. I mean, he's definitely a narcissism. He's definitely a narcissist. That doesn't mean he's intellectually dishonest, though. Because if the intellectual capacity's not there, he actually could be engaging in good faith debate here. It's just he's so brain dead he can't process any information, so it doesn't really matter. Wait, Awesome O says Craig is dumber. I don't think Craig is dumber than Soy Lodge. I mean, first of all, Craig actually has a larger vocabulary than Soy Lodge, just on the surface there. Craig is pretty good at pretending things, intentionally ignoring things. Now, he might be really dumb. I mean, yeah, he might have a severely mentally disabled. He doesn't understand concepts, Craig, or he's pretending, or he's really smart and a phenomenal actor, Craig. So, but Craig has never asked such a basic question while ignoring everything that was said. Yeah, Sphinx Bear says, if Soy is truly being intellectually honest, this is just sad. I think he might be, just based on that question. He really might be. The real Tommy in the chat says, Soy Lodge needs to go on a fast and detox. I've heard people have cured their dementia, and I feel like he just has a big toxin buildup. His brain is definitely not functioning correctly. Well, and obviously his hormones. I mean, when you have this much soy, I mean, you can practically see the soy emanating off of him. I mean, that can't be healthy. But I don't know, maybe when you, with this level of mental disability, I mean, it's so extreme. I mean, that opens the door to many possibilities. I mean, was he dropped on his head as a child? Did his mother just drink that heavily? I mean, we don't know. Again, I don't claim anything is true or untrue. We don't know. I mean, his eyes are obviously very close together, but we really don't know what happened to him either after birth or before birth. So we really don't know. I'm not 100%. I mean, obviously, clarity can come with a nice detox. So he could get better. Obviously, people can always improve and get better. I mean, is it insurmountable, though? I don't know. I really don't know. But I think he might be the dumbest individual. Because who else has ever asked that dumb of a basic question? Because we laugh at Craig and some of these other goofs all for different reasons, but usually more advanced concepts are being discussed. Like larger vocabulary is being used. I mean, it's not quite as brain dead flatlined as this, and there's a high possibility Craig might not be intellectually honest, in which case he's not as dumb as this. He's intentionally doing all those things, which would make him not as dumb as Soy Lodge.
And if not, then why?
I didn't hear the distance.
6 to 8 miles.
6 to 8 miles, depending on the trip that day. Sometimes I go further.
You're out on the water, right?
Yeah, on the ocean.
Boat.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, it's a very simple thing. So if I put my thumb up, I can block a 30-story building, right? Like I can stand on my knee and I can block out a 30-story building with my thumb.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, because my thumb is so close to me, right? I can block out something that's further away.
Soy Lodge's face just twitched there. I think it's possible he might have comprehended that. I think it's possible. It's possible. But the fact that WITSIT has to dumb this down to this level, I mean, that's so sad. Dopeman in the chat says doubt it. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not saying he did. I'm saying it's a possibility, because before, his face was just blank. It was just zero processing. Here, like the thumb that blocks a larger object in the distance, there was some kind of response. There was a response to stimuli, unless he just got an itch from all the soy oozing through his veins. I don't know.
If you're out on the water, typically where people bring this up, obviously the water is not perfectly static. There are waves. The actual average of waves is anywhere from 2 to 5 feet. Okay?
No.
So, yes.
No.
In the same way you said you think you've researched the gravitational stuff more, I can promise you he knows more about water than you.
Yeah, so I've been...
Soy Lodge promises. Was it a pinky promise, though? Because if it's not a pinky promise... Soy Lodge promises. How much is that promise worth? Because first of all, I mean, think about the delusional narcissism here. He has no idea whether A, WITSIT, how much time WITSIT has spent researching anything out on the ocean, just regarding waves or anything, or B, how much time WITSIT has personally spent on a boat in the ocean observing these things. But Soy Lodge promises despite not having that information. I think that answers our question here. I think Soy Lodge really is the dumbest individual. I've never seen anyone this dumb on any subject of debate, and I've been involved in watching, analyzing, participating in debates for quite a few decades. Soy Lodge has just won the crown, not the Dunning-Kruger Championship crown, but he's not the logical fallacy crown, but he's won the crown of the dumbest debater in the history of modern debate. If someone has a video of someone dumber than Soy Lodge participating in any debate, I've actually never made this bold claim before, Dope Man. I've never made this claim before. I think we have a winner. I have never seen anyone dumber than Soy Lodge. Yes, I've seen Nathan Oakley debate Ready Geezer 1. Check out the analysis versus David Whitehead. Sphinx Bear says, congrats, Mr. Soy, you did it. You have arrived. Soy Lodge has finally accomplished something. Soy Lodge has captured the crown of the dumbest debater in the history of modern debate. Now again, I haven't seen every single debate on every single subject ever, but I've watched some dumb ones. I've watched some brain-dead goofs debate on some of these dating podcasts. People want me to do logical analyses on those. I'm not sure I can. Like Fresh and Fit and whatever podcast. I'm not sure I can handle that. If more people request it, maybe I'll try. Some of those brain-dead goofs actively drinking alcohol and on drugs didn't ask questions this dumb as Soy Lodge. I think Soy Lodge is the champ, the dumbest debater ever. So I think we need a new scoreboard. So as for the Dunning-Kruger Championships, Michael Sartain has the record for most fallacies, although we didn't finish with Craig. Craig of Fight the Flat Earth was so fallacious we had to create a whole new comprehensive fallacy counter system incorporating fallacy stacking in single statements and fallacy comboing and super combos with fallacy stacks in combination. We had to create that for Craig of Fight the Flat Earth. Now, again, that could be because he's a genius and the greatest actor ever intentionally doing that. Because, I mean, it is difficult for someone to do. I mean, that is difficult. Awesome says, I think Craig would beat Sartain on the new system. Yeah, I think he would. Because even though Sartain's better at the verbal diarrhea, Sartain can spew out more fallacies faster, but he doesn't have 11 stack fallacies like Craig. Craig can stack 11 fallacies in a single statement, and he can combo that back to back with additional fallacy stacks. I've never seen anybody do that before. I mean, Craig is in a class of his own. I mean, even McToon can kind of do that, but nowhere near the level of Craig. Craig is one of a kind. So, Sartain has the fastest delivery of, 1 or 2 or 3 fallacies and in rapid succession. Now, Soy Lodge here, I mean, he's too mentally slow to even be able to utilize verbal diarrhea. Like, he's not even smart enough to be able to do verbal diarrhea debating. He can't even do that. He can't process any points. He can't, it seems like he can't even be intellectually dishonest. He might be too dumb to even be intellectually dishonest. So people in the chat that have seen this whole thing, they're saying he hasn't even had his meltdown yet. So maybe I should reserve judgment, but just in the last few minutes, Soy Lodge has risen to the level of just, I mean, I don't know a different way to say this. He's just that dumb. Because I'm really thinking hard. if I've ever seen any debater on any subject appear dumber than Soy Lodge here is, I can't think of anyone on any subject. I mean, I remember debate club in elementary school. We had this debate club. I mean, there were small children who didn't ask questions that dumb that were clearly answered a second prior. I really can't think of anybody dumber. Now, in the poll that I just had earlier, there were people saying there are dumber debaters. Who? And please send me the video. Because we have a new crown here. We have a new crown. Sphinx Fair says, plus Craig is really good at flinging out dingers. Yeah, Craig's dingers are next level as well. Like, Soy Lodge is, I mean, he's just dumb. Like, he can't even come up with creative dinger. Like, he's just that dumb. There's really nowhere to go from here. Grant's Pants says, life is hard. It's a lot harder when you're stupid. In certain ways. In other ways, it can be easier. Ignorance is bliss. It can be easier. There's plenty of, I mean, not this dumb, but, well, even him, because as dumb as he is, even if he's got a bunch of fake subscribers and fake views on YouTube, that might be translating into a certain amount of capital where, I mean, it has to do with morality too, because if you're dumb and immoral, you can still have success in the world, because there's plenty of intelligent people who are moral that don't really have success. You got to factor that in as well. Plochi Podcast says PhD Myers was insane as well. Yeah, he's nowhere near this dumb, though. I mean, he at least was able to regurgitate certain... I mean, his math is actually not bad. Now, he doesn't understand that, counting unicorns correctly, correctly doing unicorn equations doesn't prove that unicorns exist, but you do need a certain mental capacity to even do the equations. Maybe Soy Lodge is a math genius as well. I doubt it, but we'll see. I just can't think of anybody dumber on any subject. I mean, I just can't. So I think what we'll have to do, maybe I'll do a community post of the current reigning champs. So I do have to, again, like I said, I'm just a mortal man. There's only so much I can deal with. But as of right now, Sartain is still the champ. Craig is up there, and he might be the champ on the new system. And I don't think Soy Lodge's narcissism is as extreme as Harrison Smith. Because in Harrison Smith's debate with WITSIT, I mean, his narcissism was so off the charts, I think we might have to have him as narcissism champ. You know what we'll do? I'll do polls in the community tab. As of right now, here are my rankings. Sartain and Craig are the Dunning-Kruger champs in terms of logical fallacies. Sartain on the old system, Craig on the new system. We still have to finish and verify that. But just based on Craig's fallacy stacking, I mean, nobody can hold a candle to that kind of stacking and comboing, not even Sartain. And then we have Harrison Smith of InfoWars with the narcissism crown. And then here we have Soy Lodge as just the dumbest. So let's, Poetry Podcast, do an episode and chart. Oh, you want actual charts with all this stuff? Yeah. Alien Big Cat 23 says, we'll see who's dumb by NU year. Are you saying you want to get in on some of these debates, Big Cat? Are you saying you want to go for Soy Lodge's crown? You want to challenge Soy Lodge for the dumbest, for being the dumbest debater? You want that crown? Dope Man says, are you ever going to do a dedicated podcast on MK Ultra? I know you mentioned it a lot, but I don't think you've done a dedicated episode. No, I haven't done a full comprehensive. I touched upon it pretty heavily in the Britney Spears podcast, actually. I think I went over it on the JFK podcast, and then touched upon it briefly in other podcasts. I haven't done a full comprehensive A to Z on MK Ultra yet. I went over it actually a bunch on the Dahmer podcast as well. And actually, in the Columbine series. So yeah, I did touch upon it sometimes heavily, but not a comprehensive history from A to Z. Haven't done that yet. Alien Big Cat 23 really demonstrating how he's vying for Soy Lodge's crown here. The final experiment will show what's what, dummy. Actually, it won't. And by thinking it will is why you're vying for Soy Lodge's crown. The Lochi podcast says, how will final observation change their logic and critical thinking? Well, if they don't even understand reductive logical fallacies, false cause logical fallacies, false dichotomy logical fallacies, because if you can't even verify where the continents are in relation to Antarctica and all those distances, I mean, what are you going to do there? It obviously wouldn't prove anything either way. Yes, Alien Big Cat, you've been here for such a long time, I can't help but think you're trolling. Because if you've been here for this long, you should have at least gotten some basic understanding of fallacies by now. Don't Shoot the Messenger says, the Craig Pot fallacy stack counter. Craig Pot. Alright, let's try to continue going through this. But as of this moment, I have to crown Soy Lodge as the dumbest debater in the known history of debate.
Okay,
raised
what's
on the
the
water
average weight of what's the average height of the of the wave in an ocean?
entirely depends on the conditions that day. I've been on the ocean
That's
10
what
miles
average
out.
means.
Okay, we got a new contender here. Soy Lodge's co-host here doesn't know what the word average means. He says it depends on the conditions. I mean, look at this. There does not appear to be any processing going on here now. And Soy Lodge's co-host here, I mean, he's eons ahead of Soy Lodge. But I mean, look at this. Average depends on conditions. Does he not understand what the word average means? Average means the average. So whether there's a tsunami going on or whether it's almost completely flat, the average of everything is the average. He doesn't appear to, if he doesn't know what the word average is, how can there be any kind of logical discussion of any kind? Grant's Pants says that dude was born with a suspended driver's license. Soy Lodge. Oh, man. Alien Big Cat says, not trolling. I don't agree. You ain't smart, Bruce. So, you're here spending countless hours to listen to me not being smart, and I never said I was smart. Let's say I'm basic. If I understand the basics, that doesn't make me smart. Although, I mean, we're talking about averages. Maybe it does. But you've been here for this long, so you want to be here with a channel with a guy who's not smart talking about a subject you hate. What does that say about you, Alien Big Cat? Are you like Tsutsaka? You also have some kind of weird... Just some kind of, I mean, I don't know what is with these fetishes. Like, there's a lot of mental illness going around these days. So, I mean, this is tough. I mean, should Soy Lodge podcast just be called Dumb and Dumber? Because, I mean, we have to applaud his co-host here. He still doesn't appear triggered. But, I mean, this is Dumb and Dumber here. He doesn't know what average means? The average wave height on any given day? Like, it's just, this is so painful. I know we really got to get on this because is it possible we're not even going to make it all the way through just because of the level of goofery here?
I've been on the ocean.
But average at that level is useless.
I've been on the ocean 10 miles out and taken it 10 miles out.
Look at Austin. I've never seen Austin facepalm like this. These guys, so Austin, who's basically been going full time debating mental midgets and the dumbest of the dumb, these guys made Austin facepalm. Austin WITSIT, with legendary patience for mental midgets, they made Austin WITSIT facepalm. I mean, these are the depths we've sunk to. They think the wave height doesn't make a difference regarding objects on the ocean and their visibility. Wow. Wow. I mean, wow. I think we got number 1 and number 2. Okay, here's the next question. Okay. We need a new poll here, people. Is Soy Lodge's co-host the second dumbest person to debate flat Earth? Because, I mean, this is so tough. Because did Craig ever say waves don't matter? Because I don't even think Craig or Bryant Meyer, I don't think they said waves don't matter. I don't think they went that flatlined. Now, they might not have thought it mattered much, but to deny that waves existing would have any kind of effect on anything, I think these two goofs might be the first to deny that waves would impact visibility in any way. Wow, Soy Lodge's co-host not getting a lot of love here. 85, this is more definitive. This poll is more definitive on Soy Lodge's co-host being the second dumbest person to debate flat Earth. More people are confident of Soy Lodge's co-host being the second dumbest than they are of Soy Lodge being the dumbest. Oh, man. Sphinx Bear says Soy Lodge and co-host are just two young kids who have been gassed up at every stage of their lives to think they're incredibly intellectually gifted. Someone close to them should be honest. But at this point, even if someone close to them was honest, I mean, if their narcissism is that extreme, it wouldn't process. It wouldn't process anyway. Wow, so we have 78% here. Wow. Okay. I mean, this level of goofy... I mean, they made Austin facepalm. I mean, Austin might have only facepalmed a few times in his entire career here over years. This is like the biggest facepalm I've seen, where it's not... I mean, wow. I mean, where do you go from here? Where do you go from here? Grant's Pants says autism speaks flat Earth. I don't know if they're autistic. Autistic people can be very intelligent, actually. I mean, these guys are just brain dead goofs. I mean, there's a difference between being autistic and being a vegetable. Grant's Pants says Soy Lodge was conceived on Gilligan's Island. Oh, man. Okay. Okay. I mean, this is tough. This is tough. I mean, I'm gonna do my best here. I really want to finish this because I don't think I could stomach a part 5. So we're gonna have to try to finish this.
On a day in which it is entirely flat. I've also been in the ocean when the waves are 10 feet tall.
Careful with your terminology; they're gonna take you out of context.
Yeah, right.
No,
it's. I've been on the ocean when it is literally like glass, and
so this guy doesn't know what the word literally means. This guy's competing with Soy Lodge now. I mean, I still don't think he's dumber than Soy Lodge. What is Soy Lodge's name? Because they're both Soy Lodge, right? Is his co-host always on the show? Does anybody know anything about his show? I don't know anything about his show. I don't really want to know at this point, but is he a permanent co-host? Did the two of them make the entire podcast? But anyway, Soy Lodge's co-host here, it almost seems like he's trying to compete with Soy Lodge. Literally glass. He's been on the ocean when it was literally glass. I've been on the ocean quite a bit. I don't recall a day when where it was absolute zero. I mean, even on a large lake, I mean, it could be close to zero waves, but it's not going to be absolute zero. He's saying the ocean. He's been on the ocean when it was literally glass. I mean, the level of mental disability to make that kind of statement, literally. He said literally glass. Wow. And again, if the disability is that severe, because even if it appears to be relatively flat in the area that you're on, that doesn't mean the entire ocean has zero waves in the distance. Obviously, the waves fluctuate depending, oceans are big. I mean, I can't even believe I have to explain it. I mean, I can't believe I even need to get it into this. Like, this is kind of crazy. Like, it needs to be explained to him that even if the waves are really small in the area that you're in, like if, let's say, I don't know if he meant the Atlantic that he was in, that doesn't mean the entire Atlantic Ocean has the same amount of low wave height as the area that you're in. The ocean is quite large. Are we really at the point where we have to be talking about the ocean actually being big and that wave conditions are not uniform across an entire ocean? Is that really the point we've gotten to? I mean, this really cements, like, I was a little iffy on whether or not Soy Lodge deserves the dumbest crown. Like, before I said it, when I stopped it, before I gave him the crown, a few minutes before that, I was already kind of thinking, is anybody this dumb? Like, when he made the statement prior, asking WITSIT, basically arguing that on a flat earth, nothing would be obscure. That's when I was like, okay, that's so dumb. And then when he just continued on and on, I was like, okay, this guy deserves the crown. But now, I mean, this has really left no doubt. These two goofs don't know that wave conditions vary across an entire ocean. I mean, is that really where we are? I'm not sure I would have even started this podcast if I knew we would be getting to the point where we have to talk about waves being different sizes in an ocean. If we had to talk about the fact that he said it was literally glass. Not glass-ish, glass-like, relatively flat. Because, yeah, sometimes in certain areas of an ocean, it's relatively flat. It's not absolute zero. There aren't absolute zero waves. Even in a lake where it would appear to be like glass, it's not actually, if the lake is big enough. Like, you'd have to talk tiny puddle. Like, you'd basically have to do just a really tiny pond or puddle in order to have absolutely no water fluctuation. But in any kind of lake or ocean, you're gonna get some fluctuation. Wow, I mean, this is tough. We might be, I mean, should the Soy Lodge podcast just be called Dumb and Dumber at this point? Or Dumber and Dumbest? Sigil in the chat saying, Soy Lodge showing how well the indoctrination system breeds parrots. Yeah, but even parrots aren't this dumb. Who thinks oceans are, an entire ocean can be glass? And even if it were, even if we're talking about a lake, a small pond, a relatively small pond or a smaller lake, that still doesn't change that the true horizon and the parent horizon are two different levels, and it doesn't change the existence of precipitation.
There are no waves, and I've been on the ocean when it's 8 to 10 feet waves. It varies every day. It varies every hour.
If you've ever been surfing, it varies.
Yeah,
very
so
20 minutes at a time.
It depends very much on the day. So assuming that we have 2 to 5 foot waves.
You know what's absolutely crazy? Now, we gave the co-host a little bit of bonus points in having some kind of social awareness. It appears that has dissipated. They're talking to Austin as if not only has Austin never been to the beach, but he's never seen any videos of surfing. He's never seen any videos of the ocean. I don't know. I think it's possible they're being intellectually honest here. I think it's possible. I mean, look at Austin's face here. We need to ask, did I ask Austin? I asked Austin what the dumbest point anyone has ever made was, I think. I'm not did I ask him just the flat out dumbest debater? I've never seen Austin face palm and rub his temple like this as many times in such a short period of time as here right now with these two goofs. Because they're talking to him as if he doesn't know that wave heights fluctuate and change. They just spent almost a minute, it appears to be, intellectually, honestly explaining to Austin that waves can change height. I mean, that's where we're at. So, I guess it's cemented. This might be number one, number two. I'm still not sure about the co-host, because he did exhibit brainwave activity earlier. Soy Lodge didn't, but his co-host did earlier. Now he appears to have flatlined as well.
If I'm standing on a boat, I'm in those 2 to 5 foot waves, so the boat is rising and falling those 2 to 5 feet. So I should, yeah.
The waves, the ocean doesn't move in unison, right? Like you have waves.
Yeah, but
if
I'm on a boat,
he's on the boat is moving up and down
on top of the waves.
But not in unison with the whole ocean. It doesn't really matter though. The point is that a small object in the foreground can block a big object in the background.
But he's using binoculars.
Have waves. We still have waves. It's very simple. We still have waves, but it's not even just that. I already addressed it. I don't know if you guys heard me or not, right? But I brought up Rayleigh's criteria, the convergence of the floor, the ocean floor, the ocean surface.
The reason why I'm bringing up the fact that the boat rises and falls along with the waves in the area, assuming that the average height is 2 to 5 feet of the waves in the area, if I'm looking through the binoculars at the shoreline, the westward shoreline, no massive change occurs from when the boat is on the top of a 2 to 5 foot wave and in the trough.
Okay, so I mean, he just moved to classic strawman. Austin didn't. Who said that a massive change occurs? Where are they hallucinating this from? That because the boat is going up and down slightly or a lot if the waves are big, that's going to change the visibility on the shoreline? That's going to make buildings go up and down in the... What is he smoking? How much drugs did these guys do? What? What is going on here? I mean, this level of strawmanning... I mean, we might be just dealing with straight-up hallucinations. Who said that some kind of skyline or cityscape or whatever on the horizon is going to be moving up and down because your boat is moving up and down? What? This is crazy. I mean, these two might be the dumbest. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of anybody dumber.
From 6 to 8 miles out at what I can see of the buildings. Because I've done this.
For sure, what you can see of the buildings changes throughout the day. I live right down the street from the ocean, man. I'm not foreign to the ocean.
Sure.
What you see in the distance changes not only every day, within minutes. How far you can see, how much of the building you see changes throughout the day.
But not from the bottom up. The distance you can see changes for sure. But from bottom up, generally not much. Because in the shore that I go to, there's a large city a couple towns up where sometimes on a clear day, you can see all of the buildings, and sometimes on a not so clear day, you can't see any of them. Yeah. But there's never a time in which...
Well, you're saying that you can never see more or less of the bottom? So you're on the one place on Earth where the...
Okay, we're in a predicament here. Soy Lodge's co-host is coming for Soy Lodge. He just said there are no conditions in which how much of the bottom you can see changes. Man, he's coming for Soy Lodge. Like, the distance between the number 1 and number 2 dumbest, this distance is closing rapidly. Even Soy Lodge is looking at him. This is kind of crazy. Look at Soy Lodge. Even Soy Lodge is giving him a weird look here. He's like, what did you just say? I wonder if Soy Lodge is going to agree with him or not. Even Soy Lodge gave him a little bit of a look when this goof just said there's never a change in the amount of the bottom of a building you can see. Is anybody else as in disbelief as I am? Because they're the 2 dumbest, and they're just continuing to plummet. At this point, the gap between number 1 and number 2 here, and number 3, I don't know if that gap can be closed at this point, because I really can't think who's the 3rd dumbest. I don't know. Because the distance between the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th dumbest, they might be kind of close together. These 2 have pulled away from the pack. And Soy Lodge's co-host is gaining on Soy Lodge. He just said correct. The visibility, the amount of the bottom you can see never changes. So no matter how high or small the waves get, no matter the visibility index, no matter how much precipitation is in the air, either you can see it or you can't see it. Can we stay on topic in the chat, please? In the chat, can we stay on topic, please? We are dealing with unprecedented levels of sheer stupidity in this so-called debate. How many of these have we done now? These 2 might be the 2 dumbest guys. Even Craig's Bigfoot mailbox fallacy still requires more mental processing. Because for the Bigfoot mailbox fallacy, since Craig doesn't know what the scientific method is, he thinks if you simply make a prediction and it comes true, that means that's valid science and it proves your theory true. But that still involves the mental capacity required to make a prediction, to see if the prediction came true. There's a little bit of cognitive function there, little bit. But to hallucinate that the visibility of the bottom of buildings never changes. This kind of just, we've moved beyond goofery to sheer stupidity. This is sheer stupidity. Lou M in the chat, are you listening to these guys? This guy just said that the visibility of the bottom of buildings on a skyline never change, regardless of conditions, regardless of wave size. Am I the only one who's hearing this? People in the chat are having all these off-topics conversation. Has anybody heard anybody say something dumber than this? Sphinx Bear says, "Oh, I'm hearing this just as shocked as you." I've done, not only have I watched countless debates, I've done analyses on quite a few debates now, not just Flat Earth. Craig's Bigfoot mailbox fallacy sounds intelligent next to this guy. This is so insane. What is going on here? Oh, Merman 84, you missed a few doozies here. Soy Lodge's co-host just claimed with a straight face that the visibility of the bottom of buildings across an ocean never changes. So you would either see the skyline or you wouldn't see the skyline, depending. He never actually clarified whether it was precipitation or whatever it's dependent on. But on days that you can see the skyline, it's always the exact amount. So if it's a 10-floor building, you could see the top 5, it would always be 5. This goof just claimed that. Heracles says, but the mail was there, bro. Craig's Bigfoot mailbox fallacy is legendary. It is. But it still requires some kind of mental function. I mean, there's at least 2 points within that concept. You have to make the prediction, then you have to check to see if the prediction came true. That's more mental function than this guy. I mean, this is just so crazy. I mean, we got champ number 1 and champ number 2 right now. I mean, literally, watching back Bryant Myers would seem like a genius after watching this debate. Bryant Myers going on about equations adding up, that's eons ahead of these two goofs. I mean, I thought the Bryant Myers debate, Michael Sartain is more intelligent than this. At least he pretends and hallucinates all these other factors are valid, and he does have a half-decent vocabulary. These guys make Michael Sartain look intelligent. GA in the chat says, I wonder if Bruce will ever use that scoring system he used in the Matt Walsh Moon debate. That system was so funny to watch. Yeah, that's the new system. It's just really complicated, and the algos glitch out a lot. That is the new default system that we have to give thanks to Craig for creating. I have 2 other debates that I was still doing with the old system. Craig versus Caleb. I will finish that one with the old system. Then I'm going to have to redo it with the new system. And then I also had a Zerka debate with the old system that I'm partly through. I was probably going to finish that. Then I guess I'd have to do that again with the new system as well. Lou M in the chat. Thanks for the super chat. Look to top Craig is next level. I remember watching it for the first time thinking, wowzers, Witty has got some serious patience and tolerance going on. Did you just get here? These guys just made Austin WITSIT facepalm and rub his temple in less than a minute. Lou M, we'll see how far I can get with this. I mean, this is so painful, but the idea of having to do a part 5 on this, I don't know if I could stomach that, so I'm going to go as far as I can here. But we got so I was doubtful about Soy Lodge's co-host being the number 2 dumbest. But because his first statement, he's saying he was on the ocean when it was literally glass. Not glass-ish, not relatively flat. He's saying he's been on the ocean when it was literally glass. So that got him in the running. Now he's now stating that you can, the conditions, regardless of conditions, if you can see a building on a skyline, you will always be able to see the same amount of floors. So that puts him firmly in number 2, and he's gaining. He's gaining on Soy Lodge. I mean, he's going for that top spot now. I thought this was going to be a Dunning-Kruger championship. This has turned into a straight-up stupidity championship. And you guys have never heard me talk like this before. I usually don't even use the word stupid. But I'm going back in my mind. I'm going back decades. I've never seen people this dumb before. I mean, I kind of feel bad that I'm saying that, but I'm always about the truth. I mean, you guys can go watch all my other analyses. I rarely ever call anybody stupid. I mean, I feel bad for these guys, too. I mean, I feel bad for these two because, again, these are participation trophy generation products. They're products of the participation trophy generation where they've been gaslit into thinking their opinions have always been valid and deserve equal weight to other opinions. And that gave rise to the narcissism. Now, Soy Lodge's co-host appears to have some kind of level of social awareness, but all right, let's keep going here. This is tough.
Atmospheric conditions don't attenuate light at the bottom greater than other days because the horizon moves
Not
up
as
and
not
down.
not
The
as
hori-
much
well,
of a
that's-
severity
can
as
we
when I'm
define
taking
horizon?
the boat out into the ocean.
Yeah.
Can we
yeah.
define
And
horizon
where
here?
the sky,
Yeah, it's
where
good.
the sky appears.
Did anybody hear that mumble from Soy Lodge? I think Soy Lodge just I never thought this was possible. I think Soy Lodge just disagreed with his co-host, because I think even Soy Lodge Okay, this is crazy. I think even Soy Lodge realized how dumb what his co-host said just was. I mean, this is crazy. Even Soy Lodge, the #1 dumbest debater in history, just corrected his co-host. I mean, this is bonkers.
To meet the ground.
Okay, so it's entirely
the
based.
actual
So
definition.
we're in agreement that it's entirely based upon your perspective. There's no physical horizon. It's not a
Yeah, but in the
an
globe,
object.
there is a real physical one there. It's just that we never see it because there's an atmosphere. Right?
Well,
In the globe, there's a real curve of the Earth called the geometric horizon.
Yeah.
That's like actually physically blocking things in the distance, right?
sure.
So we see the apparent horizon, but there's a real one there. We can just never see it because there's always an atmosphere, is the claim. Of course, at first we were all told that we can know that the Earth is curving because we can look out and we know that, the curve of the Earth is blocking things and we
Mhm.
can see the curve just by, but then they changed it in around 2017 when we found things from way too far away to, well, no, we never see the actual geometric horizon. Just trust me, it's there.
All right. Then
And
then
whatever.
then I think I want to. We got 15 minutes left. I want to come back to this last thing, which is really what I've been trying to get to the bottom of, because I have yet to have somebody just say it. Which is, you're saying they changed it. You're saying they're hiding it. They're faking it. Who in this instance? Because we're talking about, again, 2,500 years here, where, I mean, again, after 200 BC in the Greek world, and then the Roman world, and then the European world as a whole, every educated person, and really most Christians, because the Christian church was teaching this,
Can you
believe the Earth
can
to
you
be a
discuss
sphere.
a little bit about
You know what's kind of crazy? After that train wreck we just witnessed, even this doesn't sound as dumb as what we just went through with literally glass on the ocean. But obviously this new fallacy stack, so he just went circular reasoning, logical fallacy, false dichotomy, logical fallacy, false premise, logical fallacy, because that's all a false premise. Because I mean, just the level of hallucination here, and he also went no true Scotsman and hasty generalization. So that was a quint stack. That was a quintuple logical fallacy stack. But notice how he didn't spit it out as fast as Craig or a Sartain could, because he's obviously very slow. So even if it's fallacies, he can't even quickly spew fallacies. But he just keeps going back to these same points, because I guess the mental capacity's not there. So it's like a 4-year-old just repeating the same thing. Because again, Lucretius is on the nature of things going all the way into the Roman world past the Greeks. They were divided on the shape of the earth. And so he's talking about 2,500 years, which is all demonstrably false. Because the idea, I mean, all of these systems, I mean, if we want to go into exact dates, are people interested in this fact check? Because I actually went over all this on the Sartain podcast. But it's kind of annoying having this goof just spew, like, because he's not representing scientism well. Because even if his cult of authority worship, the so-called educated world does not claim what he just said. I'll put it up on the screen again. It's just, I mean, like fact checking this goof is just exhausting because he doesn't even know what the mainstream position is, the official narrative. He doesn't know or comprehend anything about the official narrative. He doesn't know or comprehend anything about the flat Earth theory. Then he hallucinates that the educated world thought this. What? So again, I will put up. You could look at Wikipedia. There's no real division on this. You can go to Encyclopedia Britannica. You can go on any history of physics and astronomy. And these are the approximate dates. So this goof is spewing 2,500 years when the Greeks, the divided Greeks, were the only ones who were even considering a globe Earth. So the rest of the world... Give me a second, I'll put it on the screen. Again, you can verify this. I mean, all the encyclopedias say roughly the same thing. I mean, there's literal essays. I lifted this from one. This is all mainstream stuff. Spherical Earth is counterintuitive. It's such a radical idea that it has been discovered only once in Athens after 400 BC. The concept of the Earth being round didn't appear in any other civilization. India and the Islamic world would learn it from the Greeks, while China had to wait until the Jesuits arrived in the 16th century and turned the Chinese view of the universe upside down. So the Chinese, one of the most advanced civilizations in history, they didn't even learn about it until the 16th. This is mainstream. I'm not claiming anything's true or untrue. I'm going by this goof. So Soy Lodge is so utterly clueless about basic, super basic mainstream establishment science history. The entire educated world didn't even get to the concept of globe Earth. China didn't get to it until the 16th century. So the 1500s, so that's a mere 500 years ago. He's saying 2,500. I mean, his error rate, we're talking hundreds and hundreds % error rate. He's hallucinating that all these civilizations, all of the educated, or in what he's talking about, edumacated, we could call it, indoctrinated into these cults. Not to mention, again, as Lucretius on the Nature of Things, one of the most seminal works in all of establishment science history. So, when Epicurus was writing in 300 BC, the shape of the Earth was still up for debate. From his surviving letters, he also thought the sun and the moon are small and nearby. Lucretius follows Epicurus. No surprise to find that in the book 5 of On the Nature of Things, he also tries to convince... So this is actually a critical work of Lucretius, but it just goes to show that even in the mainstream narrative, what Soy Lodge is hallucinating is patently false. Soy Lodge is so utterly clueless, he doesn't even know the establishment narrative that anybody can verify it in any encyclopedia. You can go to Britannica, you can go to Wikipedia, you can go anywhere, and everything matches up to this. He proposes the world is rather like a snow globe. We are all living on a flat surface covered by a rounded vault within which the stars and planets move around like the flakes of white when the globe is shaken. So this is, I mean, this is crazy. This is hundreds and hundreds of years after the original Greek propositions about the shape of the Earth. I went over this even more deeply in the Sartain analysis, but it's just kind of crazy because Lucretius's On the Nature of Things is considered like a seminal work in science and physics. It's not some obscure text. And the fact that this goof doesn't know about it, it's kind of crazy. I mean, this is elementary stuff. And the only reason, and again, from the known works here, and what's also kind of curious too is Lucretius, who thinks the Earth is flat snow globe, he thought that it was an error to think the Earth is at the center of the universe. Aristotle thought it was the center and spherical. But anyway, it just goes to show the disagreement within the so-called educated world. There was no consensus. Not that the consensus would prove anything, because obviously Soy Lodge is that dumb. He thinks a consensus would prove something, but there's not even the consensus. That's the thing about how dumb Soy Lodge is. He's so utterly clueless, his stacked hallucinations aren't even valid because he appears to have this just severe allergy to logic. But anyway, again, I just wanted to touch upon that yet again because this goof just keeps repeating. I mean, the Chinese who invented so many things, according to the official historical narrative, the Chinese civilization was so advanced. I mean, they're developing gunpowder. And they didn't even get the concept of a spherical Earth until the 1500s. According to the official narrative, the precursors to gunpowder, it could have been as early as the 9th century. There's even a written formula for gunpowder from 1044 AD. So they invented gunpowder thinking the Earth was flat. And this, according to the official narrative, and this clueless goof, our champion of stupidity, the dumbest person ever involved in any debate, is saying that the entire educated world knew for 2,500 years. Can he not spend 2 minutes looking at any encyclopedia? Justin Johnson in the house here. So, Justin, if you just got here, Soy Lodge has established himself as the dumbest debater on any topic in the history of debate. I have given him that crown. And his co-host is sitting firmly in number 2 position.
Aquinas' element on that, just before.
Well, Aquinas went back and was like, we know this through natural law, we know this through Aristotle, we know this. It was in his commentaries on Aristotle that he said it. It's not in Summa Theologica, but Aquinas is saying the Earth is round. The Earth is a sphere. It's a ball.
And for those who may not know,
and Aquinas is the 1200s.
Who is Aquinas?
Thomas Aquinas is, you could really call him the father of modern theology in the Christian sense. He was a priest. He's a saint now. Wrote extensively some of the most very dense Christian philosophy texts and theology texts that you could possibly read. Reading Aquinas is a slog. It is a chore. I recommend it to people who are genuinely interested in theology, but oh boy, does he say a lot. But my point in saying that is, the breadcrumbs leading back suggest that the educated world, and particularly the Christian world, have believed the Earth to be round back to ancient Greece.
This is so hard. I mean, how many times is this goof going to demonstrate his utter cluelessness of basic history? It wasn't muted. I was just taking a couple seconds to to try to handle this. I mean, this is so tough. Can you blame me? Sometimes I just need a couple of seconds to compose myself dealing with just this amount of mental deficit. I mean, I'm not prepared. I don't even know if this guy has a 2-digit IQ. I mean, how many times is going to repeat this nonsense? Like, he spent all this time on Aquinas, and he's this utterly clueless about Lucretius, about the basic timeline of the concept of spherical Earth. Grant's Pants in the chat saying, after seeing Soy Lodge's performance, I'm just going to say no to drugs. Hey, look, I've seen drugged up people debate, and they're eons ahead of this goof. I mean, this is just a level of goofery we haven't seen before. Not only is it soy-flavored goofery, his brand of soy goofery, but just the level of stupidity here is unprecedented. I mean, it's just absolutely unprecedented. I mean, it's just really hard. I mean, this might be the toughest analysis I've ever had to do. I mean, it's just tough. I mean, obviously, within religion, because this goof is also hallucinating that in religion, religious people thought the Earth was a globe, which, I mean, that's, again, according to what is recorded, that's also incredibly inaccurate. I mean, I mean, obviously, the Old Testament description of the Earth is quite clear, and I mean, some of it's still taught today. I mean, in the Islamic world, I mean, there's a lot of flat Earth belief. I mean, it's crazy how utterly clueless this goof is. I mean, it's crazy. This is going to be tough to get through. I mean, I'll do my best, but...
And so with the Christians, the Christian church obviously starts 33 AD. The entire time, the majority opinion within Christian scripture, within Christian, not scripture, I shouldn't say, but within Christian commentary, within Christian writing, the church fathers, all of these people, the general consensus amongst all of them, but with the exception of like half a dozen, is that the Earth is a sphere. So I'm asking, where did the lie start and who started the lie?
Just give me 1 second. I'm about to just utterly demolish this fool. Just bear with me. I'm gonna put something really interesting on the screen. Again, this is all common knowledge, but Soy Lodge is just so utterly clueless and wrong about literally every point he makes that I just want to put it on the screen. So, there's no consensus. There's not even a consensus about a consensus. So, and again, this is not the only work. I mean, there's been a lot written here, but this is pretty good. This is Sage Publications, Volume 1, Number 4, October 94. Flat Earth or Round Sphere, Leslie B. Cormack. For 150 years, historians have battled over the question of whether or not people in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, the years before Columbus set sail, believed the Earth was flat. So again, this is a debate that has been raging over what these people believed. We're going into the Renaissance now, just a few hundred years. So it's not clear what people believed a few hundred years ago. Now, everybody knows that. But even within the academic world, it's not clear. Even within the mainstream. So Soy Lodge is so utterly clueless in all of his fallacies, begging the question, logical fallacy, circle of reasoning, logical fallacy, false premise, logical fallacy, straw man, logical fallacy. He's just stacking all of these fallacies. Not to mention, it's also appeal to extremes, no true Scotsman, thinking that it's only the educated, etc. There's clear uncertainty over what anybody believes, regardless of whether it's true or not. So, regardless of what the Earth actually is, there's no consensus on what anybody believed, even just a few hundred years ago. And even according to the mainstream narrative, the official narrative of academia or quackademia, whatever you want to call it, even the Chinese who created gunpowder between 900 and 1,000, the year 900 and 1,000, over 1,000 years ago, they created gunpowder, and supposedly the spherical Earth idea didn't get there until well into the 16th century. Hundreds of years after they developed all these advanced technologies. But this clueless scoop, the champion of stupidity, the dumbest debater in the history of debate. Should I just leave this up on the screen as well? Because he just keeps repeating this nonsense. I mean, even the official narrative, even his cult of scientism, even academia, he can't even be accurate about academia. I mean, is it possible to debate dumber than this guy? Is it even possible? Is it possible? Oh, wow. Heracles says, Bruce, I voted no, and I just remembered who the dumbest debater I have ever seen defend the globe. It was by far and away T-Jump. Oh, I totally forgot about T-Jump. You got a point there. Wow. I'm actually glad I forgot about T-Jump. Yeah, that guy's severely mentally disabled. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I even got through a single debate with T-Jump. Ooh, that's tough. I think I might have to just now, because now I really want to know who the dumbest is now. I really want to know who the dumbest is. T-Jump is up there. You got to admire T-Jump's dedication. It's like he just wants to keep doing debates until he finally wins one. Did he realize it's not going to happen and he stopped? Yeah, T-Jump. Wow. Yeah, if there's somebody else in the conversation, it's probably T-Jump. I can't recall him ever making a coherent point. Now, to be fair, I haven't seen every single one of his debates, and I haven't seen them in their entirety. I've probably made it through 20 minutes of a few of his so-called debates. I don't think I've ever heard him make a coherent point or demonstrate comprehension either. It's tough. Yeah. I mean, as of right now, just because I don't know. T-Jump's in the conversation for sure. I'm not sure if he's dumber than this, though. I don't know. I'm going to have to do a T-Jump analysis just to see if Soy Lodge can retain the crown. Sphinx Bear says that Daryl guy who someone mentioned earlier who debated Austin was up there too. Yeah, I started that. That was tough. That was so tough. The thing that makes some of these vegetables less entertaining, though, is if their narcissism isn't at a certain level, then it's not as funny. It's not as entertaining. But I mean, I don't know. Soy Lodge is pushing he's pushing it here. Heracles says, good idea, Bruce. We need to know. Yeah, I agree. I think the world needs to know who the dumbest debater of all time is in any debating category. Right now, Soy Lodge number 1, Soy Lodge is co-host number 2. In order to verify that definitively, we do need to re-examine T-Jump.
You're mute.
Sorry, I locally mute. With early church fathers, that isn't true.
Yes, it is. Augustine, Tertullian, Eusebius. I mean, it.
Yeah. There are many writings that they very specifically describe Hebrew cosmology and firmaments. There are some people that think the Earth's a globe. We don't have to get into all that though, because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't. If you're appealing to the philosophy of a theologian in the 1200s saying that the Earth's a ball, and then you're saying, Austin, some of the early Christian.
Austin, you're running away from the question. You are running away from the question.
Austin is running away from the malformed, fallacious question, like a quintuple logical fallacy stack question. So Soy Lodge can't handle Austin pointing out that his very question is a fallacy stack. I mean, does Soy Lodge's ignorance know no bounds? Grant's Pants says Soy Lodge's parents have been running away from him since birth. I mean, how can you be this clueless as to not know that that it's unknown what people believed? Some people believed it was a globe, allegedly. Again, we can't verify a lot of these texts. But we're talking about the mainstream official narrative here. We're talking about the mainstream narrative here. I mean, there are entire papers written on this. Peer-reviewed papers on clearly talking about the debate, because there's so much uncertainty regarding what anybody believed when. So it might have been as late as the 15th century when the globe caught on more. Who knows? We don't really know, obviously. But clearly there were very conflicting viewpoints.
letting me
Austin,
answer the
I've let
question.
you talk at length this entire time. You have said a number of things that I know are patently incorrect.
Soy Lodge knows they're patently incorrect, yet he can't point out how anything is patently incorrect. All we've seen is Soy Lodge make statements that are patently incorrect. All right, what do you guys in the chat want? Do you want me to run? Everybody's saying he's about to blow a fuse and have a meltdown. Do you want me to just let the meltdown run and not stop it and give my thoughts on it? Like, how long is the meltdown? Dr. Boss says yes. Okay, so I'll run it. How about I run it through, and then maybe I'll play it back to dissect it, so we get the full impression of the meltdown. But it's interesting. It's really interesting that this guy's so utterly clueless, and his narcissism is up there as well, because he's hallucinating what Austin is saying is patently false, I guess, to maintain the faith in his cult of scientism. But notice how he not once was able to point out how anything Austin said was false, when all I've done is fact-check this goof, and everything he's saying is false. I mean, has Soy Lodge said anything that wasn't false? I mean, maybe some of Aquinas' writings, but what does that prove about anything else?
I've let you say because I wanted to let you get your opinion out. No, I can. The point is, I wanted to let you say them. I wanted to get to the bottom of the belief here. But what I want to know, being as I'm a historian, I'm not a physicist. We've made our argument. We have an hour-long video on it going through the proof that the Earth is round. We have done that. We have discussed it here. You and I and Aiden we've butted heads on a few disagreements over what the facts
you claim
are.
Aristophanes proves the Earth is a sphere. You guys are grossly uninformed.
Because Eratosthenes does prove the Earth is a sphere. You yourself at the beginning of the show
don't understand basic logic.
The Greeks did logic. I thought they were a bunch of useless pedophiles, Austin. Anyway, moving back to what I actually asked you. That's what you just said 5 minutes ago. What I'm trying to get to here, and I'm frustrated because you've been running away from it the entire stream, is
you keep interrupting me.
I didn't. I asked you when did the lie start, and you said it doesn't matter. It does matter.
That's not what I said.
You said it doesn't matter.
What I was actually saying was that what certain people thought doesn't matter, okay? And that's just a fact. If you want to talk about logic, it's called an appeal to consensus. You're appealing to consensus over and over and over, appealing to the authority of the philosophers. Now, as to where it started, we've already addressed that. Supposedly, according to the mainstream history, is that some Greek guys proposed it. They were not even the majority in Greece, okay?
What is your evidence for that?
The entire writings of leading up to that, most of the philosophers in Greece, when the first spherical writings were introduced, the other philosophers that were with them didn't agree with them on the idea the Earth is a sphere. I don't remember all their names, but I guarantee you I've read all about it. And if every single Greek philosopher believed the Earth was a sphere, it wouldn't prove the Earth's a sphere. And this is one of the craziest tactics I've heard. Majority of the world thought the Earth was flat. And what you did to bring up history is say, but Greek were the ones that were really educated, so they're the only ones.
No, that's not what I said. I said the first people to say it were the Greeks.
But you said it as if that holds more weight than all the other civilizations, but then you're trying to tie it into a consensus
in Western
at
thinking,
the same time, which is
in Western European thinking.
Who cares?
I do, because we're talking about this right now. It's my show. So what I'm asking you is, when did the lie start, and who is lying, and why?
Well, for one, the Greeks specifically didn't believe in the Bible, and so they had
there was no Bible yet.
They had much different. No. Like even in the Torah, there absolutely was a Torah.
There was a Tanakh, actually, is the title of the work. But
there's Torah and Tanakh.
No, Torah is in the Tanakh. It's what the TA are for. What I'm asking you, because now you're diverting yet again, the Jewish cosmology was not well known within the Greek world of the 4th century. I'm telling you that. You said you've studied physics more, and you use that as your appeal to authority.
I have to stop it here. So he's saying the Greeks, the Old Testament was not well known? Didn't they literally translate it, and the oldest texts are in Greek? Like the Greek Aramaic translations? So they translated it perfectly, yet it wasn't well known. This is according to the mainstream. I'm not claiming that's true. But according to the official narrative, so the translations from the Aramaic, they didn't know. So they translated all without knowing it? I mean, this level of goof. This guy's a historian, and he knows less than children who just can watch some documentaries or go on Wikipedia. So this goof is claiming the Greeks, it wasn't well known. I mean, this guy's really living up to his title. I do not regret, like, I mean, if anything, this guy is just cementing the fact that he is the dumbest debater in the history of debate on any subject. I mean, everything he's saying is patently false as he projected onto WITSIT. I mean, this goof can't spend 5 minutes doing a basic search. This is a historian? The Dead Sea Scrolls, thousands of years old, allegedly. 2,000 years old. Most of the scrolls are in Hebrew. Some of them are in Aramaic and Greek. I mean, this is so tough. So we're going all the way back. I mean, there are full translations of the Old Testament. I mean, so Soy Lodge is a historian who's so dumb, he can't even spend 5 minutes on looking through any encyclopedia before humiliating himself like this. This goof is supposedly a historian. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. This is so hard. I mean, is it possible to be more utterly clueless? I mean, this combination of sheer stupidity and narcissism. I mean, small children know how to use the internet, or look through any encyclopedia. I mean, this is Britannica here. I mean, there's Greek translation, like so there was a translation 3rd century and a complete translation by the 2nd century. I mean, the level of goofery here. I mean, Soy Lodge is supposedly a historian, and he's this utterly clueless about the basics of history. I mean, these are basics. He doesn't know who Lucretius is. He doesn't know that there was dissent among the Greeks regarding the shape of the earth. I mean, this guy is so utterly clueless. He doesn't know that the Chinese never even heard about globe Earth until the 16th century. I mean, according to the official narrative that he claims he believes in. I mean, the level of cluelessness here. Can anybody? I don't. Is T Jump this dumb? See, I think Soy Lodge is dumber. Does T Jump claim to be a historian? What is T Jump's profession? What is his profession? Because we kind of need to know that. Because if Soy Lodge is a historian and he's this utterly clueless about everything, that has to be the leg. That's dumber. That has to be dumber than a guy like T Jump if he just lives in his mom's basement. That's what it looks like, but I don't know. Because if you study, if your main field of study is history and you don't know any, and you're completely wrong about all of it, and you're doing debates, that's dumber than a random guy in his mom's basement not knowing about history. I mean, this is just a level of cluelessness we haven't seen before. I mean, Sartain is really dumb regarding astronomy and history. But yeah, I don't know. This is tough. I don't know. I haven't seen anybody dumber than Soy Lodge.
You're not making a point, Austin. I'm asking you, when did the lie start? Who started the lie? You keep going, well, you keep talking about the Greek. No, when did the lie start and who started the lie?
Okay. You're going to interrupt me again because you're getting really emotional. So
I'm not getting really emotional. I've been watching you sit there and laugh and smirk and smug. You've been doing it for 45 minutes. Because the stuff you're saying is... No, I have been very kind and polite up until the last 7 minutes when I finally said, I've been trying to get to the bottom of this for an hour and a half. I would like to know who started the lie and when did it start?
But didn't you guys take 2v1 red herring fallacies and then you act like I'm running from a question?
There's no 2v1 red herring fallacy.
You want to take a poll on that? You want to take a poll on did I run from any questions?
I will happily take a poll on whether
I've been really respectful.
What I would like to do...
respectful.
You haven't. For the last 45 minutes, you've been smirking and looking over to the side. We know the whole thing.
Looking over to the side. That's disrespect. You're not allowed to turn your head.
I've dealt with it before. I've been on flat earth shows. I know the way you guys operate. I've asked you a very simple question.
Stereotype fallacy.
Not
poison the well fallacy. Okay,
you
should never speak about logic. You don't understand.
I understand logic perfectly fine, Austin. What I'm asking you...
I couldn't get through that. Soy Lodge understands logic perfectly fine. Who thinks Soy Lodge can even define logic, let alone apply it? Soy Lodge understanding logic. Look at his co-host.
Is when did the lie start and who started it? I'm asking you to supply evidence for your point, not, well, some university said, not, well, some scholars said, not, well, it doesn't matter what anybody thought, because it does matter. It does matter that the Earth, what you're arguing is that there is a grand conspiracy at the highest levels of all governments around the world to hide the fact that the Earth is flat. That's a major claim. That's a major claim, Austin.
Imagine claiming I'm avoiding the question. I've tried to start to answer the question 5 consecutive times.
You haven't. You've diverted to something. All right, fine. I won't talk. I will give you 5 minutes. Talk.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Check it out. Yeah. So I already answered this maybe in the first couple minutes of the first time you brought it up, which is I said that the vast majority of people aren't lying. I didn't choose a certain group of people that intentionally crafted a lie. So I've already addressed that. I said that some people had philosophical motivation, specifically that the perfect shape is a sphere. When you keep bringing up the Greeks with their Greek-centric philosophical argument,
go about the Romans.
They believe the perfect shape was a sphere. They believe the perfect shape was a sphere. They had a philosophical reasoning for why they thought that the Earth would be a sphere. Okay. I don't care though. And my point is that it doesn't matter. I didn't say there was one specific group of people that did it at a specific time. The majority of the world did not think that the Earth was a spinning sphere. Even when they believed it was a sphere, they did not think that it was spinning until many, many, many hundreds of years after that. Okay. And all of that doesn't matter because it doesn't matter what the consensus is. Okay. You're asking me who lied. there are people that are propagating the lie now, and I addressed that, like the government hiding the 60 South latitude. It just was an idea that spread across, and you have Jesuits infiltrating many different institutions and coming into China and pushing it. That's a very complex and nuanced question. You're trying to pigeonhole me into, I don't understand that this would be such a big lie. Someone would have to keep secrets and all that. No, it's a straw man. Who would have to know that your girlfriend, who would have to know that my parents were actually adopted parents? Are the church in on it? Is everyone in the house in on it? Is everyone in the town in on it? No, they believe they're my parents. Most people think the Earth's a globe. There are powerful governmental entities that are monitoring above the 60th north latitude and below the 60th south latitude. That's just a fact. So that's why the conversation is frustrating. I try to answer in good faith, bro. I think it's a misguided question. I think I've already addressed it.
Okay, but that's the problem. You keep saying you think you've already addressed it, but you haven't. Because, first of all, you then continue to make more claims, and you say things like, well, the government's monitoring these parallels. Why?
So, Soy Lodge's cope is pretending Austin didn't answer simply because he doesn't have the mental capacity to comprehend how his question is not only a malformed question, but a giant logical fallacy stack. WITSIT clearly pointed out why it was a logical fallacy stack. Now, Soy Lodge is getting triggered because WITSIT won't play pretend and pretend the question isn't fallacious. Austin is refusing to play pretend. So Soy Lodge is like a little 3-year-old. He wants to play Power Rangers or whatever and pretend that they're real. And Soy is saying, well, this was a fictional TV show. I'm not going to play pretend with you. And he's getting all triggered and he's like, no, you didn't actually play. Like, you have to play pretend with me. Power Rangers are real. You've just diverted the question. Why won't you play Power Rangers? And he's getting all triggered. No offense to Power Rangers. Power Rangers is awesome. I might even do a podcast on Power Rangers. But anyway, it's just the behavior. You could really see, like, not only is this guy's mental capacity, this is preschool level, but his maturity level is practically non-existent. He's also got the maturity. He's got the intellect and maturity level of a preschooler. I don't want to insult preschoolers because he might not even be at a preschool level. Like, maybe I'm giving him too much credit here. I don't know. Now, is he pretending that there is no monitoring of the parallel? Because he's asking why. Is he asking why because he doesn't believe it? And again, like, this is so simple because, I mean, is Soy Lodge just that brain dead? He doesn't know how to do Google searches. He can't check any encyclopedia. I mean, what is the deal with Soy Lodge? Because you can verify any of these, you can verify all the terms of the Antarctic Treaty quite easily. I mean, if you have internet. Little Star says, stop insulting my preschooler, Bruce. I apologize. I might have overestimated Soy Lodge's ability. But anybody can verify the terms of the Antarctic Treaty. It's not a top secret treaty. All of the entire treaty is listed in full on the Antarctic Treaty website, the official website. I mean, none of this is, it's kind of crazy because it's like none of this, like, this is all easily verifiable. Article 6 clearly outlines the provision of the present treaty shall apply to the area south of the 60th south latitude, including all ice shelves, but nothing in the present treaty shall prejudice in any way affect the right or exercise right of any state under international law with regard to the high seas within that area. The Antarctic Treaty is unique because its administration does not fall into any one country. It is protected as a natural reserve dedicated to peace and science. It is regulated via the Antarctic Treaty. The environmental protocol and regulations have been agreed to between the treaty and enacted in their domestic law. Strict penalties may apply to any vessel or any person on an expedition proceeding south of 60 degrees south without authorization or permit. So is Soy Lodge that utterly clueless and mentally brain dead? He can't do a simple search, like he can't just read the Antarctic Treaty. He has to pretend that everything WITSIT is saying is patently false. And he has to just hallucinate his everything he's saying isn't logically fallacious, and everybody should play pretend alongside. Now, again, am I using him? Is Soy Lodge identifying as a male or female? I'm saying he, but maybe it's a she. So if Soy Lodge believes that Soy Lodge is a woman, or let's say, I don't know, a dinosaur. If Soy Lodge identifies as a dinosaur, are we supposed to play pretend and call him a dinosaur? Then he's going to get all triggered when everybody's not playing pretend along with him. I mean, this is tough. And that's without even getting into the human rights violations that the treaty represents, because humans have the right to travel. So this is a violation of human rights to impede their right to travel and pretend they have to get authorization or permit. But anyway, again, all of this is easily verifiable. But is Soy Lodge just that dumb he doesn't know how to use the internet?
Well, good question. I mean, like they have excuses, right? They say they want to protect the penguins. They, when the government tells you can't privately explore somewhere, obviously don't believe their narrative. They brought the Nazis over here who were obsessed with Antarctica. The very next year, we went to Antarctica, and then they came back and said we can't go there privately and freely. And then they also monitor the North Pole and the International Geophysical Year and the Distant Early Warning System and the Northern Warning System, which is still in place today. Which anyone that goes above 65 degrees north, they get monitored and go through trip lines. And so why are they? I don't know, brother. I can't go there, right? I just know that you can't freely and privately go there. You can just go on an approved guided tour to one little bitty, a couple islands, and they're hiding something there. So, like, I don't know why. I would say, obviously, I think they're hiding the nature of the Earth. I think a lot of evidence suggests that the South is not the same as the North on the globe. It should be symmetrical. But why do ships take so much longer to travel in the North, in the South? Why aren't there?
What do you mean? Why do ships take so much longer to travel in the South?
Real quick. I have a specific question I want to ask. So, I genuinely good faith here, and I know things have gotten heated, and I fully understand why. But I want to try and bring it back a little bit. When you're saying that it appears that people are, and you acknowledge that you don't really have a good understanding as to why, they would be doing that. I want to understand why you think they are. Not necessarily based in fact, but considering there are so many different experiments that are saying that the Earth is round.
I know I keep stopping this, but this is just so difficult to get through. I mean, look at Austin's face right now. He's just bewildered by this level of goofery, because now Soy Lodge's co-host, he's like some kind of menopausal woman. He doesn't want to talk about realities. He wants to talk about feelings and why you have feelings. Like, reality be damned, who cares about the reality of any situation? They want to know why Austin believes this or that. Like, they don't actually want to talk reality. Like, the amount of soy here, like, I mean, Soy Lodge's co-host has quite a lot of soy as well. I mean, look at this. Would anybody describe this individual as a manly man? And my apologies, if he identifies as a female, I don't know. I'm kind of making assumptions here. Or I'm making assumptions they even identify as humans. I don't know. Maybe they both identify as female dinosaurs. I don't know. I don't know this information. But look, this guy, this individual, he wants to talk feelings? That's what we've descended to? He doesn't want to talk facts and reality? Like, how much soy is in the air in that studio? And look how bewildered. Like, has Austin even ever had to deal with, like, menopausal type arguments? Look at Austin's face here. It's like, why do these guys want to talk about my feelings and why I believe? Like, why don't we just talk about facts and reality and empiricism? Look how bewildered he is at this individual's request to throw aside fact and talk about feelings. And look at Soy Lodge. Soy Lodge looks like he has no problem with this. Let's talk about why beliefs and feelings and meta conversations instead of actual reality, instead of focusing on actual science. I mean, this is number 1 and number 2 here. I don't know. I think it's possible T-Jump might be number 2 and Soy Lodge's co-host might be number 3.
There's so many different, elements of society that are built around Earth. For example, we in our one video.
There are so many elements of society built around Earth. Okay, I don't know. Does T-Jump stand a chance at that? I just said T-Jump might be number 2, but I don't know. Soy Lodge's co-host might still be vying for number 2 position. There are so many elements of society built around Earth. Oh, this is unique goofery. We've sunk to the depths here. I didn't even think it would be this bad. I really didn't.
Had an element in which people who were building railways had to account for the curve.
Mhm.
People who build, civil engineers have to account for the curve based on their textbooks. Airplane pilots have to account for the curve in the way they plot out their.
Which, by the way, this
charts in their
is
planes.
where I was trying to get to.
Yes.
Is where does the
Because
lie
all
start?
of that is patently incorrect.
No, it's not patently incorrect that railway handbooks from the 1800s say you have to account for the curvature of the Earth. John Hanks' Field Book for Railroad Engineers, 1854. Go read it. It's not the only one. It's just one of
What
many.
about the government handbook from 5 years ago that said you use plane survey for up to 100 square miles for runways, railways, and all civil engineering? I guess we'll go to the 1800s.
What's the
where
name
one
of
guy
it?
said something about
What's the name of it? What's the name of the
I'll send
document?
it to you. I don't know off the top of my head. You brought up something from the 1800s.
Yeah,
My guy.
Isn't that interesting?
Hey, do you think there was any civil engineering books in the 1800s that said that you treat the Earth like it's flat?
For railroad engineering, not that I could find.
You don't account what you do small line
No,
segments that are horizontal in a railway, so
Mhm.
you don't have to worry about it. The globe model
But you
says that
do
since it's small
actually.
segments.
That's why they account for it.
Oh, how'd they do that? How do they account for it?
It's on page 84. I'm not a
Well, what do they
mathematician.
do?
There's a whole series of equations that I, as a non-railroad engineer, don't understand.
Okay. Yeah, they use horizontal line segments on the globe model would say.
You know what's tough? So Soy Lodge admits he doesn't understand any of it. So it's just an appeal to authority fallacy. It's just, I mean, Austin has to explain to him how it's even done because he doesn't even know. So Soy Lodge here admits his deficiency. What is this guy doing? Is he admiring the size or lack thereof of his bicep? Is he getting easily distracted? Look at Soy Lodge's face here. How much mental processing does everybody think is going on in this individual's head? I mean, Austin, it's not about the exact equations because obviously the level of goofery here. When you're railing, who thinks a railway line is a single piece across hundreds of miles? Like, where would they store that piece? Is that what Soy Lodge thinks? That a railroad consists of single pieces of steel beams that are hundreds or thousands of miles long? Is that what the goof thinks? First of all. Second of all, in that exact field book, I believe, I don't know if it was the first edition, it clearly says you have to account for variations in terrain. I mean, not rocket science. You know, some places are hilly. The Earth is not perfectly. It's not a perfect 180-degree level plane, regardless of whether it's a globe or a plane. The Earth is uneven. Everybody knows that. How would you calculate the curvature into small, short beams that are laid over uneven terrain? And even when they level the terrain and make it relatively even, the average railway beam is 60, well, that's interesting. It's 66 feet in the UK, interesting number. It's there, and they have both 39 and 78 feet variations in North America that are bolted together. So if you have a 40 to 80 foot beam, how much curvature is there 40 to 80 feet in front of you? I mean, the level of goofery, I mean, look at this individual's face here. How much mental processing is actually going on here to think that tiny pieces of railways have to account for the curvature of the Earth while they have to be run over uneven terrain, regardless of the shape of the Earth? I mean, imagine the level of goofery. I mean, oh man. Oh man. Jeff in the chat says the fact that Lore Lodge is a Freemason says he is a liar and a deceiver. I'm not sure. I think he possibly could be being genuine here. I think it's possible he's being intellectually honest and he's just this dumb. I mean, he's bringing up railway lines with 39-foot long railway pieces are going to prove the curvature of the Earth?
That it would automatically account for it over time because it's small segments.
You didn't know the book existed 3 minutes ago, and you're telling me what it says.
Also, I do want to...
Because this is how railroads are built in reality. I don't need to know about your cherry-picked.
I do want to acknowledge something.
It's not cherry-picked. It's all of them, just like the entire Western world for the last 2,000 years.
If your audience believing you, then they can do that.
My audience is very intelligent, so I very much think they will.
Also, then I guess they should be able to Google civil engineering plane survey and see the government say that for all civil engineering up to 100 square miles, we use plane survey and completely neglect the notion of curvature. Or they could just believe you making stuff up.
I will also acknowledge that railway rails are not perfectly horizontal in the slightest.
They're not at all.
Oh, we got some brownie points for Soy Lodge's co-host. Soy Lodge's co-host has just demonstrated why he's not number one, why he doesn't have the crown, because he acknowledges that railway lines are not perfectly horizontal. Well, no, I don't think he even mentioned the fact that if they're only 39 to 78 feet long, how would that prove anything either way? Because the curvature over 39 feet would be non-existent of the globe. Obviously, the terrain they're being laid on might not be perfectly even. I mean, the level of goofery here, but it's kind of hilarious. This is funny, though, because Soy Lodge checked his co-host when his co-host was talking about the amount of buildings in the distance across an ocean always being the same visibility. But now the co-host is acknowledging that Soy Lodge's goofy claim about somehow laying 39 or 78 foot pieces of beam would somehow prove the curvature of an alleged planet. And somehow that has nothing to do with local terrain. It would prove that there was a globe. The level of goofery here is insane. Not to mention, I mean, look at the YouTube's being really glitchy right now. I was trying to put something else up. I really want to put this on the screen because it just the level of gopher here, we've just never seen anything like this before. Just bear with me. YouTube's getting a little glitchy, but I think I should get it to work. Couple more seconds. So Iowa State University is the source here, but obviously trains and ramways or whatever, carriage lines, whatever you want to call them, they had horses pulling coal. I mean, way back in the 1500s or even earlier. So again, nobody really knows what the people that built these believe. But of course, let's keep in mind, it is unknown what they believed. So it's possible these are people who thought the earth was flat, making these long wagon ways, or whatever you want to call them. And these were wooden rails instead of iron rails. But so even going back to the 1500s, so so his source was from the 1800s. Now going back to the 1500s, they had these long wagon lines for transport. Is Soy Lodge alleging they also had to factor in the curvature of the earth for them? What makes an iron beam you magically have to calculate the curvature when you don't have to calculate the curvature for wooden lines? Again, brain-dead people might have trouble with this, but this is fairly basic stuff. I mean, I can't even believe we have to go over this, but this is fairly basic stuff that these wooden railways existed hundreds of years ago. Now, maybe the civilization believed in flat Earth, maybe it didn't. That's unknown. But the question is, did they have to factor in curvature for these wooden lines? And when you switch from wooden to iron, is that you magically have to start calculating curvature according to Soy Lodge. According to Soy Lodge. We got Suitsaka and Alien Big Cat humiliating themselves in the chat here. Dunning-Kruger styling's always welcome to illustrate the points. So, yeah, no, I think it's very interesting, some of these wagon lines. But what's... I wonder what Soy Lodge would allege here. Because he's admitting he's too brain dead to understand any of the calculations, but you don't need to understand the calculations to know whether or not you even need calculations. So in 1500s Germany, are they factoring in the curvature of the Earth for these wagon lines made out of wooden rails? Now, if they use an iron rail instead of a wooden rail, does they magically have to start factoring curvature? I mean, just the level of goofery here. I mean, can anybody defend the goofery? I noticed Alien Big Cat and Suitsaka, they're not able to defend any of Soy Lodge's points. I'm assuming you're on Soy Lodge's side here?
They're actually
You're saying that they actually build them curving around the globe?
No,
like,
they have a lot of flex to
so
them. They have a
hilarious.
ton. No, for
Yeah,
for
of
the
course,
for the length they are, when you pick them up in the center.
Sure, yeah.
So-
Structural integrity is not the same as like the curvature of the
Exactly.
Earth, though, right?
So they,
Yeah.
I live right next to a railroad track. Those segments are not perfectly straight. They do curve slightly in a variety of different ways. They build them with that in mind. So when they're working up a grade or around a curve, they don't need to cut these perfectly rigid things, whatever, like you said. So they plan the grade itself and the overall length of rail, not the actual individual rails, but the amount of rails they'll need for a given distance, based on not just the flat distance on a map, but based on how that distance of rail line is affected by the actual curvature within it. So they have to calculate.
Grading is a slope deviation from horizontal, right? That's what grading is. So
Yes,
like civil engineering uses plane survey. I can assure you the globe model says, well, sure, on small scales you can use it because you wouldn't really be able to see a difference. And we do like small line segments that are horizontal for runways, bridges, railways, whatever. I can show you many things from 1800s up to now, right? That talks about that. I just gave you guys the Stillman for the globe. The Stillman for the globe is, but on small segments, you wouldn't really be able to tell. Level is equal distance above the curvature of the Earth.
You know what else is hilarious? These two goofs are so dumb, they don't even understand that what WITSIT said is a Steelman. Because not only are there no calculations for the globe integrated, but they wouldn't have to be even if the Earth were a globe. But they're so dumb they don't even understand that. I mean, just look at these blank stares. Do they even know what a Steelman is? I mean, look at these two goofs. Look at these two goofs. We got number 1 and number 2. I don't know. T-Jump maybe can vie for the stupidity championships. Maybe. I don't know. We have to do another review of T-Jump.
As you're establishing level, it's going to automatically account for the curve without you knowing it. I'm not the one that's trying to spread misinformation. I'm giving you the Stillman of the globe, okay? But that's just a cool story, bro. Like you're saying, yeah, you said something about a plane. Maybe when you map it out on a coordinate system, assuming the Earth's a globe, but you fly the plane like the Earth is flat and stationary, the gyroscope is operated as if the Earth is flat and stationary. And this is in the very engineering for all of those things. And if you believe the Earth's a globe, you shouldn't have to misrepresent stuff like this.
I'm not misrepresenting anything. I told you that railway engineers account for the curvature of the Earth. Maybe they don't do it anymore, but 150 years ago, they were sure doing it. So maybe they decided that now they don't actually need to. That's fine. Science changes over time as people figure out new and better ways of doing things. The fact that I was trying to establish, however, is that the idea that the Earth is flat in Western thinking is extremely new. We're talking 1800s. So that's what I was trying to get to, is because I wanted to go to, all right, well, we have all of these things of them accounting for the curvature. So clearly people have believed the Earth is curved for a very long time. Now the question is, why? It's not because a government came and told them so. In fact, on numerous occasions, governments tried to shove these people down. I mean, if we look at the church did it to Galileo.
Galileo, that's a whole thing. You should research. He denounced heliocentrism on his deathbed.
Oh my God, I never said he was heliocentric. I said the man believed the Earth was a globe.
And the church didn't care that he believed it was a globe. They did nothing to him over the globe. Literally nothing.
I am aware of that. I'm aware of that.
Well, then why'd you say that they tried to stop the globe?
My point was that in the ongoing march of science on this subject.
Did everybody notice how he just dodged the Galileo point? His point has nothing to do with the point.
There have been battles at every step of the way. Heliocentrism was just an evolution of a globe Earth. It was yet another one. There are questions I could have asked you that people told me to ask. I tried to do this in good faith. I could have asked you what the moon is and how eclipses happen, because I know you can't answer that question. I've watched you avoid it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't explain how eclipses happen, you can't tell me I'm
that
wrong.
Was created for you. That it isn't impressive.
Because, first of all, you then continue to make more claims.
Value star. It looks like it's what we call planet. That I understand better. Why do
it doesn't matter what anybody thought, because it does matter.
Doesn't matter.
Couple towns up, where sometimes on a clear day,
as if that holds more weight than all the other civilizations, and freely, and then they also monitor the North Pole. Left the notion of curvature, or they could just believe you making stuff up.
I will also acknowledge that railway rails are.
And the church didn't care that he believed it was a globe. They did nothing to him over the globe. Literally nothing.
I am aware of that. I'm aware of that.
Well, then why'd you say that they tried to stop the globe?
My point was that in the ongoing march of science on this subject, there have been battles at every step of the way. Heliocentrism was just an evolution of a globe Earth. It was yet another one. There are questions I could have asked you that people told me to ask. I tried to do this in good faith. I could have asked you what the moon is and how eclipses happen, because I know you can't answer that question. I've watched you avoid it.
Yeah.
So Soy Lodge is so dumb. I think he's clearly one-upped Craig here. Because let's look at this modification of the Bigfoot mailbox fallacy. This is kind of an extension of the Bigfoot mailbox fallacy. So, I mean, this is a classic appeal to ignorance logical fallacy by Soy Lodge, because he's so utterly clueless, he doesn't know what logic is, although it's kind of hilarious how he thinks he does. And even stated such. So because someone can't counter a claim, because again, also shifting the burden of proof. So if the mail is in the, so not only does the mail being in the mailbox at the time predicted prove that Bigfoot delivered it, but if Austin can't prove that it wasn't Bigfoot, then it has to have been Bigfoot. So it's not just about the prediction. We have the extension here with Soy Lodge adding appeal to ignorance and shifting the burden of proof logical fallacies to the Bigfoot mailbox fallacy. Because you have to be able to prove it wasn't Bigfoot, otherwise it was Bigfoot. So if you don't have a video of the mailman delivering it, of Mothman, of a ghost, if you don't have proof that it wasn't Bigfoot, it has to be Bigfoot. Soy Lodge has managed to say something dumber than Craig on several occasions now. Pacau McIver said soy 1 and 2, T-Jump, Sartain, the Quadrella in no particular order at the moment. Who's the Quadrella? Now, I think the order is quite established. Soy Lodge is number 1. Now, it's unclear. I don't know if T-Jump is dumber than Soy Lodge's co-host or not. That's the question.
Yeah, if you can't explain how eclipses happen, you can't tell me I'm
that
wrong.
was created for you. That it isn't impressive to tout that you believe current consensus, that I understand better than you, but since you think consensus agrees with you,
It's
and
not
gave
that I
you
think
answers you
consensus
can't
agrees
verify.
with me. It's that I went and did the
I'm
math
just going to be
myself.
real with you, man. That isn't impressive, okay?
I'm not
we
trying
can
to be
falsify
impressive.
what you think the moon is.
Austin,
Dude,
I'm a historian. I'm a historian, and I can grasp
Okay.
this better than you.
But you can't, though.
Yes, because you have
it's
failed.
recorded. I'm
You have
assuming you're going to
failed.
take this down or
I'm
something,
not.
'cause
I'm
it's all
not. So,
documented.
Austin, this is the other thing that I think is great, is that you people never actually bother to look at who you're talking to. You never do. You have no idea who we are, what we believe, what we do. You're just assuming things. No, we're not going to take this down.
I saw your
Austin,
tweets,
I've
man.
watched
I
you
don't
embarrass
have to
yourself
look
for
at
2 hours straight tonight, okay? I was trying to be nice about it, and then you decided to be a dick around, I would say, 8:24. So go ahead and check it.
It's all
run it back.
recorded, so
It
unless you
is.
take it down, the world
I'm
can
not
see
going
what
to take it
happened.
down. Austin, I'm very
Awesome.
excited. I'm glad we did this because you've run
Okay.
from every question, and
Now
now you can't tell me
what
what
actually
the
happened
moon
was
is.
both of you guys were asking me questions, right? And then as I would try to answer a question, the next one would answer a question, et cetera. And I was just trying to, in reality, I could have been very like, wait, that's a red herring, da da da. But I was just in good faith following you both around,
weren't in good
answering your
faith.
different questions.
You weren't.
That is what happened. And so to answer your question as to why do I think that they lie, there are many reasons, but obviously we can't privately and freely explore past the 60th south latitude. They could be hiding land. There are many different resources that claim that there are more land. Who knows why the lie happens, but who cares? If your girlfriend's cheating on you, you shouldn't marry her. It doesn't matter why she cheated on you. If you don't walk into a house and see a bunch of bodies and you're like, wait a minute, before I establish that this was a murder, I need to know why these people got murdered. It's like, no, there's a murder. No, I was adopted. No, my girlfriend's cheating. Let's figure out why afterwards. It hides God. Geocentrism
It hides God. I knew it. I knew we were going to go there. The Bible does not describe a flat earth cosmology. It does not. We went through it. We went through the details. It doesn't. It's not.
I know he's in the middle of his narcissistic projection Dunning-Kruger spiral. But, yeah, it appears he's not even on a preschool English comprehension level. I mean, the Bible could not be more clear about the cosmology. So this guy claims to be some kind of biblical scholar and historian. I mean, this level of fail, I don't think we've witnessed this level of fail before. Because he doesn't even know, like, the basic mainstream history. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. This is what gives him his crown. Because if these are his main fields of study, and he's this clueless about them, this is why he has to be above T-Jump. Because if T-Jump is just some nobody in his mom's basement, or his field is something completely different, but when you've dedicated your whole life to 2 fields, and you can't even get to a preschool level at either one of them, I mean, this guy's the champ. I mean, how are you not the dumbest debater in the history of debate if you fail this hard at the 2 fields you've spent all your time on?
Not hiding God. Because I know, Austin, you and I both know who you think is hiding it. We both know that.
What?
So I'm sick of
Dude,
the
it's
game.
crazy that if someone votes
I'm
for you,
sick
like,
of the game. All right.
what?
That's what's got
Like,
me
you
tired.
don't know
That's
me,
why I'm
bro.
exasperated. That's why I'm frustrated right now.
This looks exactly like some kind of menopausal woman having a breakdown in a fight with her husband. I'm exasperated.
Like,
You think the Bible teaches a heliocentric model?
I think the Bible doesn't say what shape the Earth is or where it fits into the cosmos.
Does it say the Earth is stationary?
Who has the religious studies degree here?
Obviously.
Who has the religious studies degree, thus proving the utter cluelessness of soy lodge. So not only is that a credentials fallacy and a genetic logical fallacy and an appeal to authority logical fallacy, so he went with the triple fallacy stack right there, but it clearly illustrates how utterly clueless Soy Lodge is. I have to start referring to him as the champ. He's the champ. He's the dumbest debater in the history of debate on any topic. And look at the confidence in his face. Like he actually thinks that's a point. I mean, there are people with degrees on both sides of every issue. So how much is that degree worth? So the Bible is very, very clear on the shape of the earth. Obviously, it shall not move. So a non-moving earth, very, very clear. And to get even more specific here, like clay under a seal. So are clay seals, like seals on parchment or documents, are they spherical? I mean, it's very, very clear how the Bible describes the earth and its four corners. Four corners, clay under a seal, shall not move. I went over all of these in previous analyses. This guy's a biblical scholar, allegedly, and a historian, allegedly. Has he said anything accurate thus far? Anything at all? And then, of course, obviously, the word sphere, globe, ball exists, but they use the two-dimensional circle. So that's, of course, Isaiah 40:22. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth. Completely different word used for globe or sphere or ball, a three-dimensional shape. There's actually a bunch more too. I don't know if I want to go through all of them now. But it's just, I mean, this guy's title, I think his title, he's got a firm grasp on the title. Also in Genesis, it clearly states obviously the dome in the middle of the waters, dividing the waters above from below. And in Isaiah, nobody talks about Isaiah 22:18, but that's where the word is used. So 40:22 is circle of the earth. In Isaiah 22:18 is toss you like a ball into another country. So like, which is an old saying, obviously, you know, you grab somebody, you squish them into a ball and throw them. So that would be the three-dimensional version. So this is a different word. Again, you know, a first-year Bible scholar would know this, but Soy Lodge apparently does.
So you don't know what the word rakia means?
Obviously, you don't, because it means expanse.
No, it doesn't.
It does. Stereoma is the word that was translated as firmament, because stereoma can carry a connotation of firmness.
Rakia
on
means
the other
beaten
hand,
out strong as bronze in Hebrew.
no,
Objectively.
it means
objectively.
no.
Yeah, I was on mute. So I'll go through that again. So Soy Lodge is so utterly clueless, he obviously doesn't understand what basic definitions of anything are. So straight from the Hebrew, rakia could mean an expanse or a firmament. It simply means extended surface. It means extended surface, a surface. Is a surface made of air? Like a surface could be made out of anything, right? Like a table surface can be made out of anything. But a specific definition of Bible usage here, particularly referring to the King James Bible, is firmament. A vault of heaven supporting waters. Because you have to use context too. I mean, obviously, Soy Lodge is so utterly clueless, he doesn't understand context. Because the context can give you a clue to the definition. So if it's an expanse or a surface separating waters, would that surface be solid? I mean, I guess it could be some kind of an energy, but it's some kind of barrier, solid or otherwise. And it's specifically listed here, considered by Hebrews as solid and supporting waters above. The vault of heaven. A vault. What is a vault made out of? So even expanse, the definition of expanse, could be a base or support. So this clueless goof doesn't even know the basic definitions of words or how to utilize context in ascertaining what the shade of meaning can be for a word. So there's really no argument here, because the Hebrew cosmology is quite clear. So even, let's pretend there weren't these exact definitions regarding a base, support, surface of some kind, a surface separating waters. Even if we didn't have that, you could clearly comprehend what the general meaning could be based on the well-established cosmology. I mean, again, is it possible to be more clueless than Soy Lodge? That's the question here. This guy's allegedly a biblical scholar and a historian, and he's not even preschool level.
Raka means to hammer out, or to spread out, or to beat out. Rakia means expanse. It is a noun, not a verb. Okay?
It's spread out like a tent over top of us, like grasshopper inhabitants.
Yes, do you know what a metaphor is?
It's described as
Do you know what a
molten looking
metaphor
glass.
is? Does the sky not look like molten glass?
Well,
to
then
you?
we don't have to debate the Bible. The Bible doesn't prove it one way or the other.
No, it doesn't.
You're the one that got super triggered. You tried to imply the reason I do this is because
I didn't get super triggered, Austin. I got sick of your shit. Okay,
you got really worked up when I said it hides God. I was trying to once again answer in good faith.
But you
as soon as
weren't.
I brought up God, such a Christian you are
none of this has been
such a Christian you are that I bring up that I think something hides God, and you get like super angry
because
about
I am sick of people like you making a mockery of my faith. That is
but
what
you're
it
the
is.
one claiming that the Bible couldn't even describe what creation was accurately.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Does it say the earth's immovable and fixed?
You don't know the context of that claim.
Did it say the sun stopped in Joshua?
It says.
Did it say that the earth was made after the sun? How
Again,
is the
Austin,
earth going around the sun if the sun was made after the earth?
I'm not going to sit here at the end of the show. I'm not going to sit here at the end of the show and go through biblical cosmology for you. I'll happily do a video on biblical cosmology on my own, but I'm not going to sit here and leaf through a Bible in front of all of these people, pointing out the many ways in which this entire idea the Bible says the earth is flat is wrong. You know what the actual scholars on the topic say? They say that the Israelites conceived of a flat cosmology under a dome. What they absolutely in no way ever say is that the Bible itself unequivocally describes the earth as flat.
They literally do. The academic consensus is that Hebrew cosmology taken from the original languages describes that, but the what you should be saying is what they wrote through the lens of what they knew at the time. That's what the academic consensus is. Actually, the Christian academic consensus. Okay, so then you believe that the authors wrote fallibly, but I believe it's inspired.
I believe that God gave people information that was useful to them in terms they could understand.
Okay, but do you know I don't think the Earth's flat because of people claiming it in the Bible?
You haven't explained once why you think the Earth is flat.
We falsified the radius value.
What does that mean? We falsified the radius value? Because I could have opened this entire discussion with the fact that we have film reels from space depicting the Earth as round, not edited film reels.
How does this goof know that it's not number one? How does the goof know that it's not edited? So I mean, there's tons of film of Bigfoot and ghosts, and we could say they're not edited because it's from a film reel. But even if it's not edited, if you don't know where that film was shot, how would you know that it depicts what it claims to? And does this goof not know that the digital medium is relatively new? Like, all the films on film reels over the past 100 years, prior to the last 30 to 40 years, everything was analog. So is this goof that mentally disabled? I mean, I guess he is. I mean, he's the champ. I mean, you have movies going back to, like, the 30s and 40s on film reels, using all sorts of precursors to green screen technology. This is on a film reel. Does that mean it's legit? I mean, what is the level of mental disability we're dealing with here with Soy Lodge? This screenshot is from The Thief of Baghdad, released in 1940. But they actually had all sorts of projector technology even in the late 1890s. Late 1890s, and it was all on film reel. It was all film.
Raw film. We have pictures of the Earth. We have
oh my gosh,
thousands of them. You just say they're CGI.
Have you not ever caught them faking stuff? You never looked into it?
God. What's fake mean?
I'm genuinely asking in good faith.
No,
like, ironically, I actually do operate in good faith.
No, you don't.
So yes, I do. Like, I respect that you had the conversation. I know that's a lot of information, and I know you have to make sure it looks like I'm the stupid flat earther.
I'm not as stupid as you think I am.
I'm very informed on this. I'm trying to be in good faith.
I'm siding with Soy Lodge here. I really think that Soy Lodge is not as stupid as WITSIT thinks he is. He's way stupider. I really don't think Austin has an accurate assessment of Soy Lodge's stupidity level. Because if he did, I'm not sure he would agree to this. I mean, maybe he would. Maybe he just wants to put this up for everybody to watch. But I actually think it might be impossible to accurately gauge Soy Lodge's stupidity level. Regardless of how stupid we think he is, it's entirely possible he's much stupider than anyone thinks he is. So that was the first accurate statement I think he's made.
Double talk all you want. You can try and do this thing flat earthers do, where they pretend to be calm and civil while they throw the barbs into the passive language. I'm not dumb. I hear you doing it. I see you doing it. I didn't start it. I asked you a question at the beginning of the show.
Here's another question. How many not stupid, not dumb people spend all this time claiming that they're not stupid or not dumb?
Show, and you couldn't answer it once. Now, I also asked you, what's the moon? How do eclipses work? That's one that you should be ready and willing with an answer, right? How is it that the moon goes in front of the sun?
How is it that the moon goes in front of the sun? Why would that be a problem?
On the flat Earth model.
It goes in front of the sun? It just goes in front of it.
When?
How? What?
What's the moon?
You didn't think this one out.
What's the moon? What's the
moon?
Dude,
the solar eclipse isn't a problem for the flat Earth if it's the moon.
Yes, it is. First of all, you're
if
one
you
of the
don't
few
understand
people...
basic geometry, I guess.
No, I do understand basic geometry, actually. What I'm asking you is, what's the moon?
Oh, so you're diverting to
No.
not the eclipse.
No. See,
said what
Austin,
causes
this
the
is called the
eclipse.
Socratic dialogue. This is called the Socratic. I know. I don't
This is all
always get to.
recorded. You
I
asked me
don't
what
always
causes
get to
the
introduce
eclipse.
these concepts to grown adults, so this is fun for me. This is called the Socratic dialogue. It's where we start in one place and we
I know
work
what the Socratic
towards the
method
answer.
is.
I don't
That's
think
not
you
what
do
you're doing.
because again, you seem to think that the only thing the Greeks ever brought to the table was pedophilia. I don't know
I
where you
didn't
got
say
that.
that.
Concept.
I didn't say that.
You said you don't think the Greeks were all that smart. Not
No, I said
30
I
minutes
don't
ago.
put them. I don't like separate them from everyone else as like they must have.
Nobody.
I'm going to let this run for a little bit, but just the last point here, just another illustration of just how mentally disabled Soy Lodge is. Like, the strawmanning's out of control, but it actually might be good faith strawmanning, though. Like, Austin saying that they brought the, X issue, and Soy Lodge hallucinating that means that's the only thing they brought to the table. The only thing. Where did WITSIT say it was the only thing? He just said he doesn't hold them in the highest regards because they were into some shady stuff. That doesn't mean the shady stuff is the only thing they ever brought to any table, but Soy Lodge actually thinks that's a good argument. Like, who with a functioning brain wouldn't be embarrassed to even say something that dumb, or literally anything Soy Lodge has said this entire so-called debate?
You did that.
You did.
No, I didn't.
You called them the edge.
Listen to me this entire time. You came in here with preconceived notions. You came here thinking
I
that you
didn't
were
even
be
look
right
into you.
about
I came in here
everything.
completely open-minded in good faith. I was
Sure you did.
super open-minded
Sure you
in good
did.
faith. Dude, I don't know anything about your positions on anything. The only thing I've seen is you kind of talk reckless on X. You messaged me and said, I'm just trying to, get people interested in it. I said, no worries. And I was
Yes.
super chill. I came in here super chill and good
So
faith.
did I.
I'm telling jokes. I'm laughing. I'm letting you guys guide the conversation. If I was super cutthroat, I'd say we falsify the radius value, line of sight, microwave
that mean?
transmissions far over the frequency that can be reflected off the
This is
ionosphere.
why
That
people
refutes the
call you
radius
word
value. refutes
salad
all my-
WITSIT.
You'll never rebut that. You can't take me like
There's
going
nothing to
full
rebut,
force.
Austin. You didn't say anything. You didn't say anything. You said electrostatic earlier, and you didn't know what you were talking about. You didn't know what it meant. Yeah, and you still never explained how it is that in a vacuum, two things of wildly differing density can fall at the same rate. You didn't explain it. You said a whole bunch of stuff you thought made sense because you live in an echo chamber where people are gassing you up constantly. And sorry, but I'm done being nice about this.
I live in an echo chamber. That's why I've debated 1,000 people.
And you've learned
what are you
nothing.
talking about? Like, dude, I'll be real with you, man. I think it's very obvious you don't know as much about this. I'm
I know
trying to be
more
cool
about
about
this than you do.
Okay,
you know a bunch of nonsense.
Can you provide
word
one
salad.
piece of?
Wow. So the psychological projection on point. Soy Lodge hadn't been projecting that much until now. Now he's stepping up his psychological projection game. And you could see it all over his face. Like, look at that. Like, his subconscious is so ashamed of his own performance and that he was only able to bring word salad to the table. The only thing he remembered about anything WITSIT said was electrostatics. And because he didn't understand anything about electrostatics, what his cope is to pretend the guy that brought up electrostatics and did some relatively thorough explaining regarding them, but he didn't understand any of that. So is his only cope to pretend the guy that clearly explained didn't clearly explain because he was too mentally deficient to comprehend anything that was said. So it's classic 4-year-old cope here. Like, it's almost kind of like the 4-year-old, playing hide and seek. If I can't see you, you can't see me. I mean, the levels that we've sunk to here. I mean, this is crazy.
Empirical evidence the Earth flies around the sun.
All right, sure.
Name
Here
one.
we go. Okay, well, this is hard because
You know
you're-
so much more than I do, man.
Name empirical evidence that the Earth goes around the sun. His answer is, this is hard.
This is hard because anything I say, you're gonna point to, some bullshit experiment that you can't actually cite from 40.
So here he is proving he doesn't understand what the word empirical means. Because if he provides empirical evidence, it doesn't matter what WITSIT says. If it's empirical.
Years ago.
I
So
cited
here, let
all
me
the
ask you this.
experiments, and
All
I
right.
actually dropped it in the chat so
You
that they can know
dropped
you're
a
lying
whole
about
bunch
it.
of stuff into the chat that you knew we didn't have
No, I
time
dropped
to
it in
read.
the YouTube chat so they can know you're lying about it.
Okay, I'm sure that they can. Sure, whatever.
They
I
literally
don't.
can,
I
yeah.
don't care, Austin. I really
Entire
don't care.
website that has all the.
This is an interesting admission because he's saying he doesn't care if all the evidence is provided that he's lying. Interesting. That's interesting.
Resources.
Oh,
Hey,
is
do you
it,
have
what is it
evidence
Eric
the Earth moves around
Dubé's
the
website
sun?
with his 200 proofs where I debunked every single one of them? Is it that one? Is it that one,
No,
Austin?
no. Ether
Okay.
cosmology. Do you
Ether
have evidence
cosmology.
the Earth moves around the sun?
I do. All right.
Or is it
here.
just a blind belief that you have because you appeal to the authority of
What's
scientism
Mercury?
and
What's the planet
consensus?
Mercury?
What's the planet Mercury?
What's the planet
I asked
Mercury?
You, do you have? I asked you for evidence that the Earth moves around the sun. and you
Socratic
said, what's
dialogue,
the-
Austin. Come on, bud. Come on, you can do it. I know you can do it.
You asked
What's
me
Mercury?
what is the planet? What's the planet
I
Mercury?
I know that for people at a certain intelligence level, it's hard to
man.
conceive of hypotheticals.
This is bad.
It is bad, Austin. It's really bad. Okay, you look dumb. I'm asking you a very simple question. What's Mercury?
Well, I'll happily answer your question. It's
Do it.
it's a wandering star. It looks
Okay.
like it's what we call planets. It's called Mercury. What you did was completely avoid
No,
it and try to get away from the fact that you have no evidence at all.
Nope. Still going here. What
You
do we
obfuscated
see
the question.
when Mercury goes across the sun?
I don't even know what I'm watching here. So Mercury is not a celestial body? He asked him what Mercury was and then just said nope 50 times, like some menopausal woman having an argument. Now he's asking a new question on what is seen on Mercury. So now now he wants a different answer? I mean, look at Austin's face. Even Austin didn't know that he was going to have to deal with this level of mental disability. I mean, this is insane. And what happened to his his empirical evidence of the Earth moving around the sun? What happened to that? He said he would give it, then he started crying that it was too hard. And now he's asking Austin what Mercury is. I mean, this has descended so quickly, but Soy Lodge, we have to give him credit. He's firmly established himself as the dumbest debater in the history of debate on any subject. Now, obviously, that's just my opinion, but until someone provides, I mean, I'm going to keep him in that ranking because, to my knowledge, that is true. To my knowledge. I've watched a lot of debates on a lot of different subjects. To my knowledge, this is the worst and dumbest performance with the lowest amount of intellect applied on the part of Soy Lodge.
What is that?
What do you mean? What do we see? It's
When
called a
Merc-
transit.
It's called a transit, right? What's Mercury doing?
What it goes in front of the sun.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, it never
because
goes the
that's
other
the way
way.
the creator made it. It has a
It never
cyclical
goes the other
pattern.
way. So Mercury's
It's called
orbiting the sun.
retrograde. I know more about
It's-
every part of this
No,
than
you don't. You're an arrogant, sick son of a bitch, and I'm tired
Okay,
of
well,
it. And I'm
explain
sick of treating
Mercury.
you like
Explain
a human
Mercury's
being, honestly.
perihelion shift. Explain
What?
Mercury's
No,
perihelion shift.
no, you are avoiding the question yet again. Answer the question. Why does Mercury traverse the sun?
You know what's kind of hilarious in this meltdown? His psychological projection is so on point. Because he was the goof that dodged the question about empirical evidence. He was asked if he could provide empirical evidence of the Earth moving around the sun. He said sure. Then he cried about how hard it was. And then he deflected to Austin. And and his ad hom attacks here are kind of hilarious because the projection is so on point. He called Austin a sick SOB. Who's the sick SOB? I mean, It's kind of funny though, because that's more of an old school insult. You actually don't really hear that too much on like modern podcasts or anywhere. Now it's all with like the F-bombs and all that stuff. That's kind of an old school insult. I'm like semi-impressed at that. It's kind of funny.
And just remember, I said, hey, how do you have evidence that the Earth moves around the sun? You said, what is Mercury?
We're establishing that orbit exists.
I answered your questions and then pointed out that your model doesn't work to explain Mercury. It's called Mercury's perihelion shift, and then you're accusing me of avoiding the question.
No. What I'm accusing you of using word salad to deflect. I'm asking you,
why does
Mercury traverse the sun?
Can you define word salad?
Yeah, it's when somebody throws a whole bunch of words at people in order to divert the conversation or make it seem that they are more intelligent than they are. What I'm asking you is why does Mercury traverse the... You're going to arbitrarily define the term word salad? Are you kidding me right now?
No, it has an actual definition.
I'm sure it does. I'm using a colloquial one. I don't give a... Okay, I'm trying to remain family friendly. Why does Mercury traverse the sun, Austin? Why does Mercury traverse the sun? Why does Mercury traverse the sun?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, there are planets that have a cycle. They seem to take a flower of life pattern from a geocentric position. They fit within a torus field. So I would say it's you can all be mapped out with a Lorentz magnetic force.
What's that?
So Lorentz magnetic force can explain all the motion of the planets, but you were supposed to be giving us evidence that the Earth moves around the sun.
I'm working on it. You're doing what I said and throwing word salad on the table. What is that? What did you just explain?
So he's begging WITSIT to handhold him through basic definitions that he's calling word salad because that's his only cope at at words that he can't comprehend and concepts he can't comprehend. He has to pretend it's word salad to cope. And how is him working on providing empirical evidence have anything to do with WITSIT or what WITSIT says? Because if he has a real argument with real scientific merit, it doesn't matter what Austin says. Because the argument can stand on its own if it's truly empirical and scientific, adhering to the scientific method. Then he shouldn't be asking WITSIT anything. Because if he has true empirical evidence, it has nothing to do, like, nobody would be able to say anything if he does have it. Maybe he does have it. Maybe Soy Lodge is going to surprise us all.
What is that term? What does
Hendrik
it mean?
Lorentz, Hendrik Lorentz is a physicist, so Lorentz just comes from his understanding of the relationship between magnetic and electric fields.
I didn't ask how the term got its name.
I said a magnetic force. I said a magnetic force. Do you know, dude? Just because you don't know what the words mean doesn't mean that it's word salad.
Austin.
Did you know that?
This is called Dunning-Kruger. What you have, okay? This is
You're
Dunning-Kruger.
projecting.
Look at Soy Lodge's subconscious accurately exposing his suffering from the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is hilarious. So he can't comprehend anything, so he has to project that Austin is suffering from the Dunning-Kruger effect. Now, even if Austin WITSIT is suffering from the Dunning-Kruger effect, because the Dunning-Kruger effect is actually a bell curve, whereas incredibly competent people might not even know the extent of their competency. I'm actually going to go over that in the next Pretend Society podcast. But obviously, Soy Lodge is so utterly clueless he doesn't know that. But anyway, it is very interesting the psychology at play, because now that he's melting down, his subconscious is revealing all.
No, I'm not at all.
Did you know that Dunning-Kruger goes both ways?
Why does Mercury traverse the sun?
You didn't even know Dunning-Kruger went both ways. You use it as an insult. How embarrassing.
All right, listen up, jackass. Why does Mercury traverse the sun? Answer the question. Why is it so goddamn hard for you?
I already did.
No, you didn't.
Wait, so this goof is using the Lord's name in vain while wearing a cross and pretending to be a Christian? This isn't just even about unprofessional and insults. This guy, does this guy not even comprehend what the 10 Commandments are? Does Soy Lodge purport to be a Christian? So just because this 4-year-old mentality goof, not to insult 4-year-olds, maybe it's like more like 1-year-old level. The goof is now using the Lord's name in vain just because he's triggered and he's been exposed and humiliated to this level. he has to resort to using the Lord's name in vain?
No, you didn't.
Can you still man what I said?
You didn't say anything.
I said, dude, they have a cycle, and from a geometric
and
position.
by the way, I'm aware that I probably look bad right now. I'm aware. I've just been dealing with this for months now, and I'm sick of it. I was told you're the best, Austin, but you can't tell me why Mercury traverses the sun. All you can do is claim something, and then not explain it. What is that reason?
I already said. No, you
didn't. That's like Aiden saying, "Hey, man,
you're saying I can't answer questions because you won't let me answer the questions."
No, you didn't answer the question. You didn't answer the question. You said it's this. Do you know what that means? No, Aiden. If you ask me why does a peanut butter and jelly sandwich taste sweet, and I say, well, because of the sucralose effect.
Yeah, I can't believe there are people that
answering
like
the question.
Winning.
People think I'm winning, Austin, because not everybody's as dumb as you are.
No, it's because they have a huge bias. The only way anyone would say you won
bias.
this is...
You know why you only have 37,000 subscribers, Austin? It's because not that many people agree with you. It's not because you're super censored, all right? We actually looked into this ourselves because we thought we got shadow banned from our Flat Earth videos. Okay?
Oh, I'm censored. I'm censored.
You're not
That's
censored.
A fact.
Wow. Look at Soy Lodge hallucinating to know who is or isn't censored. I mean, this is crazy. This goof hallucinating to know whether or not YouTube shadow bans. He just admitted that YouTube shadow bans. Because he said he thought he was shadow banned. So if shadow banning is real, how would he know whether or not Austin is or isn't shadow banned if Austin has under hundreds of thousands of subscribers? You would never know. But the goofery of Soy Lodge, I mean, wow. Wow, his spiral here is definitely hilarious. I mean, this is so funny. He really and the other thing too, does anybody actually think Soy Lodge won this? I mean, globe earthers, any globe earther with a brain would be ashamed of this performance because he doesn't even know the official position of anything. I mean, he's been wrong about every single point. I put it all up on the screen. Other than the writings of Aquinas, which he might have had somewhat accurate, he's got absolutely nothing. Every point he made was completely wrong, most of them by factors of over 100 regarding times or whatever. I mean, just utterly clueless about all of history, about what the Bible says, basic word translations. I mean, this guy is mentally gone. But his subconscious is accurately projecting here, which is interesting. But who thinks, is anybody that's not joking around actually thought Soy Lodge did well here? I mean, I can't think of a worse globe earth representative than Soy Lodge. I mean, at least Craig is more entertaining in his fallacy stacking.
You think you're
so
way more
YouTube
important
says they
than
censor
you are.
flat Earth, but the Lore Lodge says that they don't. Someone wanted me to ask you, are you a Mason?
Yes, I'm a Freemason.
And so do you think that the Masons have been up to anything sketchy back in the day, or just across the board they've been pretty legit?
Grand Lodge of England, Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania, Grand Orient
I'm not even
of France.
judging you. I think some people go too far with that. But have you ever read Morals and Dogma?
Yeah, I have. Actually.
You know what it says in Morals and Dogma about the Earth?
Have you read Morals and Dogma? Not have you read a page of Morals and Dogma. Have you read
I haven't read it front to back. No.
So this is an entirely pointless conversation, but continue.
Okay, yeah. It says this as we knew, like the ancients, right? The compass and the square represent the measurements of the Earth as a plane. They would use plane trigonometry for the Earth.
So you should
use spherical trig for the sky. So it doesn't matter. I just wanted someone wanted me to
So you should know that Albert Pike in Morals
announce.
and Dogma does in fact say the Earth is a sphere.
He doesn't.
Yes, he does. I have the copy of the book sitting back in my apartment.
Okay, well send it to me. He contradicts himself then, and so that goes to show
he
you how
contradicts
smart
himself.
that guy
What's
was.
more likely, he contradicts himself, or that you didn't understand metaphorical language being used by Freemasons deep into a book?
It wasn't metaphor.
What's metaphor?
I said it wasn't metaphor. He specifically even refers to how the ancients knew it as well. But look, here's the deal. Just to admit you don't have evidence. You don't have evidence that the Earth moves around the sun.
You have still not explained to me how Mercury traverses the sun.
I said it could be a magnetic force. I said there's a dynamic equivalence. There could be a neotech.
How does that
work?
I asked you how it traverses the sun. You have yet to actually answer the question. Stop throwing it. It's a magnetic force. There's a very simple answer to the question. It's orbiting the sun, Austin. It's orbiting the sun. Okay? That's the simple answer.
That's what you think, yes.
No. You can physically observe Mercury go in front of the sun, disappear for a predictable period of time, and then reappear on the other side of the sun. You can do that. You can do that with every single planet. The problem is their years are a lot longer than ours a lot of the time. Stop going, dude, this is, I get it.
It's like you just don't,
think
you've never
really
researched
smart.
it. Like, have you
I have
even looked at the paths of
Austin.
the planets on a geocentric model? Do you not know that it's just a cycle, bro? It's just a cycle. There's a neotychonic, I'm trying to help you. There's
we're
a
at the center of the
system.
universe, if we're at the center of the universe, why does Mercury not orbit us?
There's a neotychonic system, and that has the planets moving in relation to the sun as it moves around the Earth. So that's a geocentric model that does have these quote-unquote planets moving around the sun. So even if Mercury was moving around the sun, it doesn't prove that we're moving around the sun. It's called the neotychonic system. You can actually look at the Neo-Tychonian, Newtonian, Machian analysis of planetary bodies. Luca Popov, European Journal of Physics, word salad. It was a title of paper, and you would call it word salad. So you can use Lorentz magnetic force, relational mechanics, PhD astronomer. Andreas Cease,
does that
relational
PhD
mechanics.
astronomer agree that the Earth is flat?
No, that's irrelevant.
Oh, I wonder why. It's not irrelevant, Austin. It's because you're doing what every conspiracy theorist out there does. You pick and choose little things from various arguments.
We're talking about geocentrism.
Oh my God.
We're talking about flat. You can't even stay on subject.
I am on subject, Austin.
I asked you for evidence the Earth moves around the sun, and then you asked me about Mercury because you don't have an answer.
Yes, because we needed to establish that orbit exists. That's where I was going.
Yeah,
not optically. It exists. We know it does. And here's the thing. Here's what really gets me.
You don't have evidence.
You want to know what really gets me? It's this. It's the
that
fact
you
that
want
we
to act
have
like
the
you know
empirical
more than you
evidence.
do.
Austin, we have the empirical evidence. We have the photography. We have the experiments.
What are they? Did he name a single one? All right, let's examine this claim. Let's watch a video of someone actually going through Albert Pike's writing here, because so far Soy Lodge has been right about 0 claims. Maybe Thomas Aquinas, I don't remember exactly what he said. He made some general statements that may have possibly been correct, but on every other point, he's been completely wrong. So let's examine someone physically going through it.
To answer. Answer a question that I get quite a bit, which is, are Freemasons, do they know that the Earth is flat? Are we told that the Earth is flat? How many Freemasons know that the Earth is flat? Written by Albert Pike. This book I was given after becoming a 32nd degree Mason, Freemason. So let's just see what is written in Morals and Dogma in the first chapter as it relates to the square. It says, the square is a right angle formed by 2 right lines. It is adapted only to a plane surface and belongs only to geometry, earth measurement, and trigonometry, which deals only with planes and with the earth, which the ancients supposed to be a plane. Yes, the square is for plane measurement, okay? The ancients understood that the earth was a plane, fixed, immovable, set upon.
So, how is this metaphorical? He's explaining that the square in Freemasonry is based on earth measurement. So it doesn't where does it state that he believes it's a globe? Because maybe he does. Maybe the origin was because they thought it was this or that, but clearly there's no metaphor here. So again, no surprise, Soy Lodge also incorrect about that. Is there, I mean, this is crazy. He's been wrong about everything.
How does that prove that we're moving through space?
Because we have the photography and we have the videography that shows us orbiting the sun and moving in space.
That's not what your model says, dude. Your model says that you can't tell that we're moving through space from the Earth or even from inside our galaxy. And that the sun looks like it moves in the sky throughout the year, but it's actually because we're moving. But while we're on the Earth, since all motion is relative, since this reference frame is relative to the sun, we won't be able to.
I knew this was a mistake going into it.
You just said pictures and videos prove we're moving through space. That's incredibly ignorant.
No, it's not. It's not.
Your own model doesn't claim that, brother.
What's
it does
my
not
model?
claim that. It's called the theory of relativity, the mainstream heliocentric model. I mean,
what's my model?
You believe in you believe in the mainstream heliocentric model that we're taught as children?
I believe that the Earth, along with all the other planets in our solar system, are orbiting the sun. I believe that. Yes.
Okay. Did you know that would require the theory of relativity to be true?
Did you know that you can observe the curvature of the Earth from Earth with a telescopic lens on a camera, as we proved in our video on this? Because we looked at the islands in the Mediterranean from the location where they were shot.
I mean, this is all basically appeal to invincible ignorance fallacy now, because all Soy Lodge has is nuh-uh whenever everything he's saying is clearly dismantled. Because he's so utterly clueless, he doesn't understand that waves exist, he doesn't understand the difference in apparent and true horizon. They went over all of this before. Yes, it's very excruciating to watch.
And you can see them, even though the flat Earth model says you shouldn't be able to.
Okay, so you don't have evidence that we're moving around the sun. That's okay. You're moving over to curvature. So
I'm not moving over to curvature. You went ahead and completely ignored the question, which was me saying Mercury orbits the sun. Now, I was going to take it from there and go into the argument over how that proves that the Earth, in fact, is orbiting the sun as well, because, you know, we can observe celestial bodies, and they're not always in the same place relative to us, and if we were on a flat plane, they would be. There's also a number of other factors that we went over in this entire podcast where you just kind of danced around the question. I'm trying to think of them off the top of my head right now, but there's been a number of times, and, I mean, once again, I
this
still
is
come
so
back
bad.
to...
This is so bad.
You're right, Austin. It is pretty bad.
I just found out that the manual you picked up for the railroad engineers actually specifically talks about plane survey being used.
Oh my God.
You've been wrong at every point.
Austin, you just did it again. You just did it again.
It literally says the railroads are all built in segments, just like I said. Someone else just sent me that. I haven't read it.
So does the book
I just
not
want to point out, man. Look, I wanted to have a good faith conversation with you, man.
You didn't, Austin.
Look,
you didn't want to have a good. You did not want to have a good faith conversation.
I did, bro. I did. I was willing to come here and just talk about the easy stuff. I followed you guys around Antarctic videos, you know, and like.
And we looked at the Antarctic videos, and they didn't support what you said, Austin.
You guys believe in like videos from the government and stuff, and I was still just being nice to you, bro.
Videos from the government and everything. You believe in random experiments you can't even cite.
I've done them myself, and I cited all of them. That's just a lie. I don't know why you're wearing a cross, man.
Because I'm actually a Christian. I actually read my Bible. I study it. I have a channel.
Why do you keep lying about me? You know what bearing false witness is?
This isn't bearing false witness. This is me just analyzing what I've seen, Austin.
I've tried to bring it back down quite a few times, man.
I was so polite. I was so respectful. I did such a good job, and you broke me around 8:30 p.m. You broke me.
Actually, as soon as
with
I
the
brought up that you
smirk.
can't have silhouettes refract and that you can predict them in advance, that's when you started getting kind of like squirmy around.
Austin, we explained everything you said, and you sat there and smirked over it, even though
No,
you were
you never
being proven.
did.
Oh my God, yes we did. All right, this
No,
isn't
can
going to
you
go
explain?
anywhere.
Okay,
You know what?
okay,
Give
it's all
people your
good, man.
socials. Just give people your socials. Just give them the socials
Yeah,
and get off
yeah.
of my channel.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, this
so
is pathetic.
my
You're
my
pathetic.
socials are well. I'm just like you can't verify
go
there's a
ahead.
tilted spinning ball, but it's okay.
Yes, we have. Oh, sorry. I, the historian on YouTube, can't verify it.
Historian on YouTube who doesn't actually know any history. How many people, like, the pat on the back, like, oh, I did such a good job. How many intelligent people have ever said something like that? Talking about how good of a job they did on something. Like, the narcissism is so off the charts. He actually reads the Bible. Maybe he does. He just doesn't comprehend anything in it.
It's not like, you know, a bunch
Well, that's
of
all good. We could have
astrophysicists
had a good
have.
faith conversation, man.
We
Like
did try to have a
I
good faith
dropped out of
conversation,
college.
and then you started.
I'm not claiming.
You
I'm not
started
claiming to be
dropping
an
all the words
expert.
out. Yes,
I
you
didn't come in here
are.
acting like I was better
You
than
came in
you.
here and you literally said, "I've researched this more than you."
I said it like this. I said after much of the conversation, I said respectfully, it appears that I've looked into a lot of this more than you.
After you dismissed a whole bunch of things that we said with no actual reasoning, you just ignored the fact that you were completely wrong about how far below the horizon a mountain should have been. I was very nice in not contradicting you and cutting you off. I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt. You know what? We did it. We've been here. It's over. So
Can you give me your word you're not going to take this down?
is there a single podcast we've ever taken down?
I don't know, brother.
No.
You know what's weird? What kind of goof would even ask that question? How would Austin know if there was any podcast they had taken down if they had taken it down? Unless somebody was watching live. As if anybody watches all their podcasts live.
Like, I think when you watch this back, though, you may want to. And I'll be honest with you, man.
Want to give them your socials and get out of my house.
I'm trying to be cool with you real fast. Like,
I'm not.
I admit
I'm
that
not,
I maybe.
Austin. I'm not trying to be cool with you.
All right,
I don't
fine.
like you.
I'm saying I can admit that I maybe said some things I shouldn't have at times, but like I was honestly, I came here in good faith. That's the
don't
truth.
believe you.
I could have been much more cutthroat with the
And
arguments,
I
and I
could
was
have
trying
been the
not to.
same, and I didn't. That's what I'm telling
I think
you.
the other guys.
This is so hilarious. I don't like you. I mean, that's what this descended to. The 3-year-old, I don't like you. Why would he like Austin? To be humiliated this badly? To be humiliated this badly? I'm actually shocked. No, this actually proves how dumb Soy Lodge is. Anybody with any iota of mental function would have taken this down. I mean, unless the fetish for humiliation is so extreme. Okay, anybody without a fetish for humiliation that had functioning brain cells would have taken this down. So is that evidence that Soy Lodge should firmly be number one as the dumbest debater of all time?
Pretty cool. I think you were cool for a lot of the time. I'm sorry if I triggered you. Whatever I did, I apologize.
I got sick of the lies. Give them your socials and get off my show.
Okay, it's WITSIT Gets It on all platforms. WITSIT Gets It on X. And for people that are new to this, you should at least go watch The Principle in Heliosorcery, and that's just about geocentrism. You can keep your globe or whatever. That's like kind of the first step. Yeah, the subject's deeper than people think, and people get really triggered about it, but it's all good. So WITSIT Gets It on everything, and t.me/WITSIT on Telegram. So.
All right.
Oh, WITSITGetsIt.com. WITSITGetsIt.com.
Well, I
right, man,
genuinely hope that
sorry.
one day you find a way to not be a snake about things, or at least control your facial expressions. So you know what? I'm
Is that
sorry.
what it was? I was making
it was your
facial,
facial
like,
expressions. Yes, Austin.
but
That's
dude,
what
to
it
be
was.
fair.
You know what else is funny? He's talking about WITSIT not control. He got so triggered over WITSIT's facial expressions when he was the goof twitching and going crazy and fondling the microphone every 2 seconds. Yet Austin's the one that needs to control.
I'm reading your chat. Like, I'm not like just making fun of
Don't.
you. Like, I'm reading your chat, and some people are saying ridiculous things. So if I smile, it's not like I'm
Yeah,
trying to. I was
Austin,
trying to be
I
nice
did the
to you,
same
man.
thing.
So
I read the chat, and you know what I didn't do? I didn't smile. I didn't smirk.
no,
I
you
didn't
started
giggle.
screaming at some random person in the chat at some
No,
point.
I very calmly said something. So here's the thing. I'm sorry for getting heated. I accept that I maybe went a little too far, but I mean, when you sit here and you smirk and you go.
I mean, okay, maybe Soy Lodge identifies as a female. I don't know, but this is exactly like some kind of menopausal woman arguing, where they're just admitting they can't control their emotions. Like, look how unhinged Soy Lodge is here. He just couldn't take it. Austin broke him by certain facial expressions. Soy Lodge is just that bereft of not only logic and reason, maturity, but basic self-control. He can't handle another human being making random facial expressions. Like, he just has zero control. The soy is so extreme within him. He can't control his emotions. He can't focus. I mean, he just has absolutely zero masculinity or self-control. I don't even want to. I mean, small, like, little girls have more control than this. Not every little girl is going to get triggered over someone making facial expressions. Yet Soy Lodge just has zero control, zero discipline. He can't handle another human being making a few facial expressions.
Type off to the side, and you're doing all your little things. It comes across, and maybe this is the conversation that needed to happen. It comes across from flat earthers that you guys all think you're smarter than everybody else. And when you sit there and you say, oh, well, I can't believe anybody actually believes the earth is round, you're essentially just insulting everybody who
I've
doesn't
never
agree
said
with
that.
you. Sure,
I've
maybe
never
you
said
haven't,
that.
but you have to understand what the rest of the flat earth community is like, right?
Sure, but there's bad people everywhere. I mean,
All right,
everyone
well-
that's a flat earther used to think the earth was a globe. So it would be insane for them to say that.
All right, well,
It
you know
would
what?
be
Here,
insane
how
for them
about
to say
this? I will apologize for getting too heated and being intense about it. Maybe you actually did come here in good faith. I'll take you at your word. But, you know, there are some things you
watch
said.
me again, man. Watch how I came in here, brother.
There
I
are
was trying to
some
be nice.
things that you said that were so plainly wrong that when we tried to address it, you just walked away from the conversation.
I mean, the psychological projection, he might also be the champ when it comes to psychological projection. His subconscious exposed him so accurately there. Because not only wasn't, I mean, from every single source I put on the screen, I don't recall a single instance of Austin making a false claim. It was obviously Soy Lodge and his co-host Goof. Their claims were all false. Fact checks all over the screen. Anybody can empirically verify that from any source. And just the level of goofery displayed, I mean, he's vying for psychological projection championships now.
Okay, well, I think maybe you should watch it again. But I'll tell you, let me say this one thing to you, and I'll get out of here. I want you to know from my perspective, what's going to happen is people are going to be like, why did you let them get away with so many fallacies? Why'd you let them talk to you about Antarctica videos that can't be independently verified? Why didn't you hammer down them on the R value and get into Michelson-Morley interferometry measurements relative to periodicity? Because I can get all into it, right? And honestly, I feel like that wouldn't be fair for me to do that. I came in here in good faith being chill. They're going to be mad that I didn't just like eviscerate you guys in terms of debate. And I was trying to actually be very chill, let you guys lead the conversation, just be good faith. You may not see it, but that's what happened. I obviously know a lot about this. It doesn't even necessarily mean I'm right, but I do know a lot about it. Okay. I encourage people to research it and just try to be kind to.
And notice the difference between a narcissistic goof like Soy Lodge. Austin didn't even say that having knowledge of something made him correct. Whereas Soy Lodge and his co-host Goof, they hallucinate, they presuppose they're already correct. And in their narcissism and mental weakness, they're just too mentally weak to even consider the possibility that they could be wrong or mentally deficient.
People, okay, you're not stupid if you don't believe in the story. Because usually the people that don't believe in it have looked more into it, man. This isn't beneficial to me. This is like wrecked many portions of my life. I speak the truth because I do think it's important. I think them telling you that you're a tiny insignificant speck in the corner of a universe that doesn't matter isn't true. The evidence doesn't show that. Evidence shows the Earth's in the center, and they don't want to say that. So why would we let crazy atheists mislead our children into thinking that they're this tiny speck of dust where nothing matters and it's all random when the evidence shows that's not true? So that's the reason I do it. You can disagree with it. I'm sure you do, but it's all good. Thank you for letting me getting that off. I still love you guys. I really do. I have no hard feelings.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry.
Like I said, maybe we can
I
talk
hope
later.
we can be chill in the future, but I'm sorry for the heatedness.
It's all good, brother. It's all good. I'm sure I played my role in it, so no worries.
Right. Well, you know what? Thanks for coming on. Wish you the best.
Yep. Much love.
Nice one.
Wow, that was painful. And the image on the screen right now really tells the whole story, doesn't it? Just the level of goofery that we just have never seen it before. I'm a little bit surprised that Soy Lodge did show a tiny little bit of humility and even apologized for his goof spiral. I mean, that really proves the point about the soy levels and the hormone imbalances. Because again, it's like some hormonal woman 1 second saying she loves somebody, then hating and ranting on them the next second. Just the unhinged, uneven mental state of Soy Lodge. I mean, truly a sight to behold. But I believe that was the dumbest individual to have ever performed in any alleged so-called debate ever. Because that really wasn't really a debate. But wow. 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 I did not know what I was getting in for. I mean, even in the previous 3 parts, like this descent into pure stupidity from Soy Lodge, I did not expect that. I did not expect that. I mean, wow. Boggin, what do you mean? I could have told you what Bruce would say a light year ago. So you were fully expecting Soy Lodge to capture the crown of being the dumbest human being to ever participate in any debate on any topic? I mean, just the level of pure stupidity. I mean, he doesn't know anything about the 2 subjects that are his main study. Boggin said, yup. I mean, I think what gives him the edge over goofs like T-Jump, like these 2, so he studies the Bible, theology, religion, whatever, and history, yet knows less about it than a small child. Or anybody can verify in 5 minutes on the internet from any encyclopedia, whether it's Britannica or whatever. He doesn't even know the official mainstream narratives. Boggin says the narcissism is beyond the chart. It is. I still think Harrison Smith from InfoWars might be more narcissistic. I think he might be. Because Harrison fully admitted he didn't know anything about the subject, but still thought that everything was all about him and his perceptions. Whereas Soy Lodge, even though he's a narcissistic goof, he actually claims to know all these things, which he doesn't. So the stupidity factor is much higher. Whereas the pure narcissism, I might have to give the edge to Harrison Smith there. So we have a champion in stupidity. Now, I wouldn't put him as the Dunning-Kruger champ in terms of fallacy spewing. Because he just doesn't stack or spew fallacies as quick as Sartain or stack as high or combo as impressively as Craig. So we're going to have a separate category of just the dumbest, and Soy Lodge is number 1. Soy Lodge's co-host, though, he gave him a run for his money. I wasn't expecting that. Because Soy Lodge's co-host appeared like semi-cognitively functioning throughout most of it until he started talking about how he was on a literally glass ocean surface. And buildings in the distance never changing how much of the bottom you can see, no matter what. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. The funniest part was when he called Austin a sick SOB. The psychological projection on point. I mean, on point. He's definitely in the running for psychological projection championships as well. So, yeah. Wow. Okay. So, if everybody wants to, I can do a part. I'm gonna need a lot of recovery time, but I could try to do the part 5 on them talking about it after Austin's not there. Their breakdown after the fact, which could be hilarious as well. But I mean, I think it also tells the whole story. Let me double check that they didn't take this down. Yeah, so it's still up. It's still up. So the fact that they didn't take this down, what are the options there? Does that really prove how dumb Soy Lodge is? To leave this up? I mean, can you imagine? So if they don't, why would they leave it up unless they have like some kind of severe humiliation ritual, or they're just that dumb they don't even comprehend what happened here? It's like, can you imagine a toddler getting in the ring with Mike Tyson, getting knocked out in 2 seconds, have film of the match, and then present the match as victory on their YouTube channel? And just leave it for everybody to see. Oh, look, we destroyed Austin. They're unconscious on the mat. Mike Tyson knocked them out. They're unconscious, flatlined in 2 seconds without getting off a single punch. Yet they present the video as if that was victory. I mean, is it possible to be dumber than that? I don't know. But that's it for now. I need to recover from this. I really do. All right, that's it for now. Hope everybody enjoyed another edition of the MindShock podcast. If you want to help support the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like and share. You can also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube. Help support the channel that way. This is Bruce McGuire signing off. Catch you guys next time.